Hey everyone. Welcome to the party. Welcome to another live stream of us just hanging out, having some fun. And in this case, if you couldn't tell from the title or the thumbnail, which I thought was oh so cute, I was trying to put a little Kent in there getting annihilated, but it didn't come out right. So I just decided the Mushroom Cloud Dave would be in order. We're going to look at the legendary debate, and I put that in quotes, between Professor Dave, Dave Farina, and Kent Hovind. I put the word debate in quotes because it was an absolute massacre that was beautiful. And in fact, it was this incident that made me decide, yes, I want to do some kind of content regarding Kent Hovind. That wouldn't happen for like another year or two with my first blog piece on him. But it was me noticing when put against someone like Dave with such a confidence about him and such a direct, I don't give a fuck attitude, how Kent resorted to the childishness that he has. It's common to us now, but that was my first time really noticing it, and I thought it was a rather fascinating thing to look into further. Again, I never wrote those pieces, but I did. This was the impetus for me getting involved in the Kent Hovind. I wouldn't call it discourse, the anti-Kenthoven discourse. So, wow, it looks like that is Dave Farina. That is not Caruso Tomato. I kind of wish it wouldn't do that. Actually, let me turn that off. We don't really need it. Bear with me. What the hell does it matter? It's a stream. It's all good. Y'all know what's up. But yeah, we're gonna watch, of course, Dave's upload of the debate with his little opening commentary, and we're just kind of going to let it play. We'll have a laugh where we need to, but this is going to be probably more of a watch along than normal. Not that I don't want to add commentary or contrast Kent, but I mean, this is just an appreciation for this incredible moment.
Hey everyone, so some of you may be aware of my flat earth debunking videos, and a channel named Modern Day Debates reached out to me after seeing those to see if I wanted to come on the channel and debate a guy named Kent Hovind about young earth creationism versus evolution. So I looked up who this guy is, and turns out he's this like slimy car salesman kind of a guy. Introduces himself as Dr. Kent Hovind and claims to have multiple doctorates, has no degrees of any kind, not even a
I just love the genuineness that Dave says this. Like he's looking at this as like this is a joke, right? This guy, he can't be serious.
bachelor's degree, claims to have taught high school science for 15 years, never taught in any school, basically homeschooled some kids in a church, actually went to jail for tax evasion for 10 years. So this guy is like a major, major scumbag. So naturally, I wanted to kind of take a bite out of this guy. So I looked up a lot of his debates, and it turns out he just has the exact same ridiculous talking points. They're all either flat out lies or at the very least just total misrepresentations of science. He both does not understand science and misrepresents it deliberately. This is how he makes a living. He lies and he brings in donations that way. So I decided I wanted to do it. I want to make it clear that I don't attack religious people this way normally. I saw from the debates how much he dodges direct questions and how he just changes the subject when he knows that he does not have the ability to discuss any the science at that moment.
Ken Hovind took his advice from the film Dodgeball. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. That's Ken Hovind for you.
So I knew I was going to have to bully him around a bit. And again, I do not do this to religious people normally, okay? This guy is a con man that lies to people for money. I would never go and attack someone's religion this way normally. So I just wanted to offer that up front. I definitely was very aggressive in this.
Sorry to pause a little late. I do love that Dave has since finally decided, fuck it. And while he certainly doesn't make it a primary focus, he will go right into, well, anti creationist garbage when it's tangential to anti pseudoscience, because this is the group we're all really out here against. It's not all religious constructs like blanket religion bad, okay? in our activities, at least, independent of how any given one of us may feel. It's when you've got people like Kent Hovind, like Matt Powell, like the various televangelists and like that, there's a serious danger there that needs to be addressed.
I didn't do quite as well as I'd hoped. I'll chalk it up to lack of experience. He definitely, every time I would demolish one of his points, he's like a greased pig. You pin him and then he just squeals and
Soot Kettle, that is by far one of the funniest things I have ever seen in a live stream comment. Absolute zero has more real degrees than Kent. Oh, I would say that's got to burn, but we're talking absolute zero.
like squirms out of the corner. He evades direct questions. I mean, he's got a script he's been running for about 30 years, and this is what this guy does, and this is how he earns a living. And apparently 10 years in jail didn't learn his lesson, and he's still doing the same crap. So anyway, this may or may not interest you. It's about debunking young Earth creationism. And there are definitely some good moments in here. There are definitely some fun moments. So give it a watch. See if you enjoy it. Thanks a lot.
Hey everybody, today we're debating creation evolution, and we're starting right now. We're gonna get rocking and rolling.
I mean, Zach, to be, well, it's very egotistical, but we all know the zero fucks I tend to give. But then again, I counter that by the fact that I do try to be proper at times. So yeah, I guess Dave does give fewer fucks than me. Um, but I mean, I've got to be somewhere behind him. It's a matter of just moving things forward is really the reason why I'm nice half the time. Like when I called into Kent's show that one time, it was a matter of just being able to actually have some kind of discourse and judge how things would go. It's a means to an end.
And thanks so much, gentlemen, for being here. As mentioned, we will have these 8-minute openings. So, Professor Dave, it's a pleasure to have you here as well. And I've got the timer set. The floor is all yours.
All right, before Dave gets going, I do want to note there is, surprisingly enough, a storm running through. It got really warm down here, so there's a non-zero chance, well, a higher non-zero chance than normal, given the U.S. power grid, that I may lose power during the stream. So if I just disappear, it was aliens.
Okay, here we go. Let's begin by stating that evolution by natural selection is an observable fact. Expose some bacteria to antibiotics, chance mutations lead to resistant ones, the rest die, and soon they're all descended from the resistant ones. That's evolution by natural selection. Speciation, or the production of new biological species, is also an observable fact. We have observed the emergence of new species of microorganisms, plants, and animals. We know so much about it that we have terminology to describe the different kinds of speciation that can occur. If you understand biochemistry, none of this is surprising at all. DNA undergoes mutation. New genes means the expression of new proteins with the potential for novel functionality and eventually completely different organisms. This happens faster than one might think. Even a single point mutation can produce legs where antennae should be, additional sets of wings, and other remarkable changes. Kent will respond by saying that these are never different kinds of organisms. Well, what is a kind? This word is in the Bible, but it's incredibly vague. We can read about cattle, a creeping kind, and a beast kind. What is creeping? What counts as a beast? Who knows? Science is not vague like this. A species is a group of organisms capable of interbreeding. So if organisms can produce viable fertile offspring, they're of the same species. So is a kind a species? Well, then the argument is false. Speciation occurs. There are new kinds. Is a kind some other taxonomic category, like a phylum or something else? Then that's no problem, because new species always belong to the same clade. When eukaryotes first evolved, every descendant thereafter was a eukaryote, no matter what else they became. Animals always produce animals, mammals always produce mammals, and so forth. So if a kind is anything other than a species,
That or through one ear and out the other. It's definitely one of the two, or some combination thereof. And of course, we had looked at the video, a recent video where Kent tried to define kind, and he just waffled on forever and complained about species has 37 different definitions. even though it's been explained to them that the various definitions that have been applied have been created are, again, descriptive of various classification methods to group species together, because for some types of life, some classification methods that work for like a mammal aren't going to work on, something pretty different. It's me dumbing it down a lot. So maybe if Kent watches this, he'd learn something. He's never going to watch this, but I see too many. I say too many naughty words like ass and fuck and damn. And Ken Hovind is a piece of shit.
This will not contradict evolution in any way whatsoever. Instead of defining the term, Kent will perpetuate the ambiguity of the Bible because he needs to blur its meaning.
No, AJ, I'm soloing this one again for the hell of it. My next live stream where I'm in a group thing with you is definitely going to be something on your channel, my friend. It's going to be all you. I'm just the comic relief in the background that's actually less funny than the host.
Meaning to suit his argument. Now, if speciation happens today, it's logical to extrapolate that it has produced all the species that are already here. If this is the case, there should be some evidence. For example, shouldn't there have been any intermediary species? Well, fortunately, fossils exist. And after we found enough of them, we were able to identify more transitional species than you can shake a stick at. We have fossils that bridge from fish to tetrapods, from land mammals to ocean mammals, from
Oh, I just want to point out that Deviant Outcast finally got around to sending me that email I was asking for, since we have no other, direct ways of communicating that's like reliable. And it is an incredible tapestry of what can only be defined as text adventure narrative, like something from Zork that's just wild in its eccentricities. And that was just one of the coolest things to finally notice once I got off my ass and actually checked my email.
dinosaurs to birds, and every other transition you can think of. We also see that fossils deeper in the ground, which are older, are less.
Have you ever seen a Kent give birth to a non-Kent? Hovind, got him.
Similar to currently existing life, which supports slow change over time. This is such strong evidence for evolution that Kent will have to resort to claiming that the geologic column does not exist, but this is a baseless lie. Furthermore, we can figure out how old these things are with radiometric dating, another technique that Kent will desperately accuse of being invalid without any basis whatsoever. Isotopic decay rates are constant, and measuring their levels reveals their age. We can corroborate these ages by using multiple nuclides, and when we get the same age using uranium dating as with potassium argon dating, the notion that these.
Look, I'm not saying Ken Hovind is likely to be eaten by a grue, but he is likely to be eaten by a grue.
Coincidentally offer the same result, not once but thousands of times, is a statistical absurdity. We can also compare with unrelated methods like tree ring dating or referencing documented historical events. Radiometric dating works, period. Then with biogeography, we predict the local.
Before we let Dave continue, I just want to point out that I love just hit them with everything at once, because that is the amazing thing about evolution and the evidence for it, is that it is spread so well over so many disciplines that all corroborate the same C concepts, same key concepts. It's incredible, and that's the key reason Hovind does this one topic at a time, because he's written his script to always go at individual facets of things, like the tiniest little thing. And sure, it's mostly bullshit what he says, and anything he does say that has any validity is still kind of irrelevant to the grand scheme, or is just some outdated bullshit of like, oh, well, this person lied about this. It's like, yeah, and that doesn't matter anymore. That's the thing that terrifies him the most, is that all of science points towards evolutionary processes, towards some kind of abiogenesis, towards billions of years old planet, and nearly 14 billion year universe. It all fits together so well and is so understood, and all he can do is hand wave it away because magic book says a thing. Which this debate is where I got it. Some book says a thing is what Dave says several times in this.
locations of fossils based on the configuration of prehistoric land masses. And guess what? We do indeed find them there. You can't get more empirical than
Yes, Tubian, but would Kent acknowledge that? He'd just say, no, it's still a human being, because he doesn't understand the analogy being made. Which is funny from a man who constantly makes this analogies, simultaneously thinking those make his point, totally. Let's say you found this pencil. Do you think the pencil just made itself? No, Kent, you dumbass. False analogy. Get over it.
and I bet I'll find this thing here, and then you look and you do. Now, Kent will say that none of this is proof of anything. Well, proof is exclusively for mathematics and logic, so anyone who asks for proof in science has no idea how science works. In science, we only say that something's consistent beyond reasonable doubt. For example, a very old Earth is consistent beyond reasonable doubt, as is agreed upon by literally all geologists, the people who study the Earth for a living. So when someone uneducated like Kent says anything to the contrary, it is totally baseless and can only be traced back to one piece of supposed evidence. Some book says a thing. Similarly,
Oh man, I was gonna pause on that exact frame. Oh, it's such a perfect thing. I need to cut that out and just constantly use it as a reaction image for, well, any case where it's viable.
all biologists agree that evolution by natural selection is consistent beyond reasonable doubt. But Kent will say, some book says a thing.
I mean, just look at it. It's perfect. This and the science isn't dogma, you're just stupid. Um, Image from the same video of video of the same title are just, it's peak Dave Farina. It's just so damn good.
Kent also strangely proposes that many unrelated fields are somehow part of evolution. Most people would refuse to discuss these subjects in a debate on evolution. However, I'm very interested in demonstrating that Kent has no idea what he is talking about in virtually any academic field. So I'm going to permit the discussion of these topics, and I hope very much that he wishes to discuss them. In fact, let's introduce them now. Kent wants to know about what he calls cosmic evolution, which he thinks is the origin of time, space, and matter in a huge explosion. The Big Bang was actually the
Yeah, Fred, that's the thing that kills me is the fact that Kent, like so many others, will take all of the advantages that the scientific method has given us, take them, not question it, be perfectly fine with it, but as soon as it contradicts his magic book, the same logic, the same processes, the same everything, he's like, no, 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 that can't be true, and here's why. Because, conspiracy and shit. It's insane.
origin of space-time and energy, not matter, and it wasn't an explosion. Uneducated people like Kent imagine the Big Bang as fully formed planets and galaxies tumbling out of a kablooey graphic. This would indeed be quite absurd. In actuality, the model describes the universe arising from an initial singularity and then progressing through a series of epochs that require a lot of knowledge in particle physics to understand.
I just want to say and go on record that my favorite time period in universal history, or event, if you want to call it that. I forget exactly what you call it, but well, I mean, I guess the name will describe it in one way, but just the coolest named thing, I think, is recombination epoch. I just love that name. It just, I don't know, it just sounds cool. That's the point where the universe became transparent for the first time. Once things cooled down enough to where, stable ass atoms could form. Which is right. Well, you see the yellow line right there. I forgot this isn't a screen cap, so I don't think you can see my mouse moving. Of course you can't. Yeah, recombination epoch. Big cool band name.
Atoms took 380,000 years to form, and stars and galaxies took 150 million. There's overwhelming evidence to support all of this. 1, the recession velocities of galaxies and the expansion of the universe. 2, the cosmic microwave background radiation, a remnant of the recombination.
Yes, apparently I've managed to attract some awesome people together, so I take that as a sign of me being awesome from them, and as egotistical as that might have sounded, I didn't mean it to. It's literally a case of, okay, all these other cool people like me. I'm in the club. Hell yeah. We're gonna have fun here. And yeah, Ken understands science just as much as he understands tech, which is not at all. It seriously amazes me that he can make the PowerPoint slides. So I begin to wonder what the deal is with those, like the back history of it. But they're done in so much complete crazy, it probably legitimately has been him for most of the time. But even gets proper medical attention when ill, yet still refuses this one area of scientific investigation. Yeah, literally takes advantage of evolutionary principles for medication, for that snake bite he got, etc., and does not accept the very science that saved his life. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Event predicted by the model and confirmed observation. 3, the ratio of hydrogen to helium that is predicted by the model and confirmed by observation. 4, hypothetical particles from early epochs that are confirmed in particle accelerators. Astronomers unanimously agree that this model is consistent beyond reasonable doubt. So when Kent begs to differ, once again, he can only respond with, some book says a thing. Next, Kent wants to know about what he and no one else calls chemical evolution. He wants to know where all the elements come from. They're made in stars, Kent. This is immaculately well understood.
I fucking love that moment. They come from stars, Kent. This is immaculately understood. As you all know, I love me some stars. Some stellar fusion, stellar nucleosynthesis. I love me some of that high energy physics right there. So every time Kent bitches about the elements, I'm just like, dude, you literally, you know less about this topic now than I did as a kid before I started learning about it. It's insane. That's the way it feels.
The process is called stellar nucleosynthesis. It's really hot in those stars, so all those nuclei are whizzing around, and sometimes they fuse. 2 protons gives us helium, 4 is beryllium.
Well, thank you so very much. I legitimately try. Once I got the idea of, I'm finally just going to start doing content like this and decided I'm going to join the Hovind crowd, the anti-Hovind crowd. As I always phrase it, milk this lol cow for everything he's worth. And AJ, of course, inspired me. Heavy inspiration. Yeah, I just went with it from there because I knew I think like you guys, we all are similar. We gonna have some fun with this. Felt accepted and made it happen because hell yeah. And I've learned a ton being in this community. That's the coolest thing of all of us, sharing information, sharpening ourselves, and getting better and better every day on how we understand things. Because collected together, we know a lot of shit compared to Kent, who knows jack diddly shit.
Beryllium, 6 is carbon, 8 is oxygen, and so forth. This goes all the way up to iron inside a star. Heavier than iron requires high energy events like supernovae, and the very heaviest are synthetic, produced only in particle accelerators. There is all the elements, no problem. Next, Kent wants to know about the evolution of stars and planets. Again, no mystery here. Hydrogen collected by gravity to form stars.
Well, I'll just be keeping track of it in my head because if I see enough super chats, I'll do the thing with the thing where I keep on going for even longer. First super chat, suckers, Ken Hovind's neck vagina. Thank you, Austin. Oh, every shekel you throw my way helps me afford to, devote time to this and keep side projects going. Lots of side projects you can totally take advantage of, like my bulletin board system /forums at finalzone.net and my crappy ass blog that I haven't written to in like 2 months, and the bill's about to come up for that, and it's a big one. So your shekels help keep my garbage alive. Oh, I do appreciate you guys. A Nubifier on a stream. Hell yeah, glad you could be here. Dun dun dun. Let's continue. See, I'm getting relaxed. I'm starting to get goofy. Let's make this happen.
Stars fuse all the elements. Eventually, they explode. All that matter collects to form another star. And now, with all those other elements, there will be a protoplanetary disk from which planets can form. This is exceptionally well understood, and we can see nebulae and protostars all over the galaxy. There is zero controversy about any of this in the astrophysics community. So if Kent has an objection, it would no doubt be based on the fact that some book says a thing. Lastly, Kent wants to know about how life came about on Earth. This is called abiogenesis, and plenty of work has been done here. In the 50s, it was shown that amino acids form spontaneously in early Earth conditions, and the same has been shown for nucleotides. Ribonucleotides polymerize on hot clay to produce RNA, and we've observed ribozymes which have catalytic function and thus offer an early mode of self-replication. Amino acids must also polymerize to form proteins, and there are several viable hypotheses as to how this happened. If Kent is interested in discussing organometallic catalysis, I would be happy to elucidate further. Finally, amphiphilic molecules spontaneously self-assemble into ordered structures like micelles and bilayers, making boundary formation the least mysterious aspect of abiogenesis. Only with now.
I mean, it all boils down to my lovely favorite saying of chemicals doing what chemicals do. Because that's all life boils down to is chemistry. And that's not a bad thing. It's just a matter of fact. And what the progressive complexity of these relatively simple processes, not that organic chemistry is simple, but, you know, it's single, atomic interactions over and over and over and over. Those are individual atoms being depicted there in the graphs, and the particular types of bonds and particular compounds, forming. Um, you eventually get, crazy ass cool stuff like us. That's just awesome. It's just a matter of fact. Doesn't mean we're anything less than what we are. We live, we love, we enjoy each other. We have fun. We have goals. We have wants, desires. We are us. We should value that. We shouldn't have to chalk our existence up to some magical sky daddy that gives us some kind of meaning, because it's so pathetic to have something artificial giving your life meaning when you should give your own life meaning, and we all do. Religious thinking makes no sense to me, honestly. So I see the basic chemistry of life as just amazing by virtue of itself, by being chemistry, by us being part of the universe to that detail, to that degree. It's awesome.
Knowledge in biochemistry is abiogenesis become quite sensible. So it's not surprising that Kent rejects it, because he has zero knowledge of biochemistry. The only evidence Kent can ever cite is some book, which is allegedly written by an omniscient deity, but doesn't bother mentioning anything scientific anywhere. Why doesn't it reference bacteria?
No. Let's raise money to get Yamato a new computer, because this one's old. I could do a lot with a new one. Just saying. Ken will just spend the money on SpongeBob toys anyway.
Or DNA.
I'll only spend part of it on Guild Wars microtransactions. I got like 200 Black Lion chests. Might as well buy the keys and open them, right? Right.
Or the laws of physics, that would be quite something, and also trivial for the God that created the universe. And yet nothing intelligent is in this book at all. That's because in actuality, the book was written by ancient, ignorant, immoral men, and it's not evidence of anything whatsoever. I look forward to demonstrating this repeatedly throughout the debate.
You bet. Thank you very much from Professor Dave. That was his opening statement if you're just tuning in.
Okay, so I've verified that you are Jess. Hello, Jess. Sorry, I have a bit of difficulty associating names. I have to reinforce them in my head over time to really get them. So a little slower than normal. Yeah, there's AJ's Discord that can be joined trivially, and then there's mine, but it's kind of more of a broad whatever kind of thing. AJ's is kind of the central hub for all this, because AJ is AJ, and AJ is awesome. I'm just some nerd who does this on the side. I got a bunch of other junk I work on. It's just, this is kind of taking over. But yeah, I think Austin and a few others, y'all should, if you got the wrench, y'all should be able to, what's it called? Share links. So if you want to share Discord linky links, which I guess I can get some of mine. Hey, thank you for the $5 Australian. $5 towards a new computer. Hell yeah. Let me get a link real quick in my Discord. Just uno momento. Copy el linko. I will paste el linko. And post the linko. There we go. Kent's cult member sent him enough money as is. Yeah.
And we will now kick it over to Kent Hovind, who will be giving his opening statement. And that will also be 8 minutes. We're just going to.
I am not against moving to Canada. If anyone would like to support that, please let me know. I will totally take up an opportunity if it presents itself. As I am not very happy down here. We'll just put it that way. But right. Hope y'all got your favorite relaxant of choice, because yeah, it's time for Kent to ramble on like a dumbass. But that's why we're here, is to hear him say the stupid crap he always does and laugh in his general direction, point and laugh, wonder why we waste our time, then remember we do it for the lulz, because Kent is a lol cow.
Switch the boxes. The old switcheroo happened. One sec. So, Kent, I have the timer set for you, and glad to have you here as well. The floor is all yours.
Well, thank you for having me again. Dave, I want to say I have just heard of you today, and I did get to watch a few minutes of one of your videos you did, and I very much appreciate your style of trying to.
I have been exposed to very little meth in my life, at least knowingly. Not been near any places. Well, there was that one down the street from where I used to live, but that was after I'd moved away. Yeah, no, surprisingly no meth. Now, I can't say the same at Dinosaur Adventureland. Thanks for that additional super chat. Everybody helping. Sorry, I'm having a complete delirium moment. After the way I felt yesterday, I'm like all hyper today. Acting goofy, acting stupid. That's why you're here.
Keep things simple. That is commendable. Your goal, your visuals are excellent. You sound very angry at some book that you don't like. I suspect I know why. According to 2 Peter chapter 3, I think we should put your name in there. But anyway.
Yep, Kit knows what everybody's thinking. He knows everyone's opinions, everyone's feelings, everything. Also, I feel bad Dave's camera is off, so we couldn't see his reaction to that idiocy, because I'm sure he just let out a chuckle and just stared on like, "Can't you idiot?"
I'm shocked that you would give some of the so-called evidences that you gave that have been proven wrong some well over a century ago that you're still clinging to. You said in the video that I saw that there is a mountain of evidence for evolution. I would like to see that. You said there's evidence from homology, similar structures. Do you not comprehend that this is evidence of a common designer? With a common.
That shit right there, just right out of the gate. Do you not comprehend there's evidence of a common designer? Think Dave comprehends more than you do, Kent. It's a pretty just asshole way to try to make your point. And no, it doesn't point towards a common designer at all. And this idea of common designer, it's like, just say a designer, just a singular designer. Creationist phrasing is always weird, and it just bugs me. The whole evidences thing, the way they gotta use unique names for every term in geology, biology, etc. And just, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. It's always a weird fucking term. Just to contrast with with the common traits that have. It's like, oh well, it's not commonality because they're related. It's common because something made them that way. So we're gonna call it common designer. Yeah, it's like, no, I don't know. I'm not as articulate as I usually am today. Maybe if I finish up this sandwich, maybe.
There's a lot of commonality between Chevy pickups and Chevy cars. I mean, the lug nuts will interchange. It doesn't prove they're all coming from an explosion.
Yes, because these known artificial objects are created by the same people, the same company. These are known facts, because you can go and see these people. You can see the factories. You can see the blueprints. There's documentation of the design processes. You know what there's not actual documentation of? Nothing you can actually go see or investigate. Anything about your Magic Sky Daddy, Kent. Can you not comprehend that when you bring that stuff up, you sound like, surprisingly, like even more of an idiot than you are? Because it's complete non sequitur.
or a skateboard there. And I really was saddened to see that you are still teaching there's evidence for evolution from
And that's exactly it, Nubifier. Creationists use unique names for well-known scientific processes, so you can only find their BS articles if you search it up. Exactly. North Texas Fossils. As a 20-plus year fossil hunter in Texas, I can attest the incredible reliability and predictability of the long-established geologic column. I've yet to find an out-of-place fossil or layer. And I am certain that that will never happen. And anything we find that is even remotely odd can and will be explained by known geological processes. Because that's apparently just how the world works. In no way like there's a deity, but in every way like science seems to describe.
homology about the vertebrate embryos the same. Dave, this was proven wrong in 1874. If you're destroying children's faith using something proven wrong 140 years ago, so you might be a child abuser. This is certainly wrong to teach this.
Yeah. This is another fine example of Kent's excessive projection. Him calling someone else a child abuser. After what he did to that kid, you know, when he was scared to go to the dentist. And the other times that he's mentioned having beat the hell out of his own kid.
The embryos do not look similar. They are vastly different. Those are not gill slits. I'm disappointed that someone with your knowledge level would still be using something proven wrong.
And notice that Dave didn't actually bring up embryology pretty much at all. I think he made a passing comment about it, and because that's one of Kent's trigger words, he just went at it and was like, "Here we go. I'm going to talk about Haeckel and how his slides are just proven and how wrong you are." You know, that he's still doing now, even though AJ completely annihilated him on that, because AJ's fucking awesome.
140 years, 145 years ago, okay? You need to stop using that. This is criminal behavior, in my opinion, to teach children something that is just a lie.
But Austin, if there's a law, there has to be a lawgiver, Hovind.
That's going to turn them away from their faith in the obvious that there was a creator. You're still saying there are vestigial structures. What on...
It's not obvious, Kent. If it was obvious, then it would be obvious. I mean, I don't know how to phrase it any better. It would just be a thing that people know. But it's not. You know, you never see anybody who hasn't already been exposed to Christianity worshiping Jesus. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
On Earth, what a vestigial structure, how could there be any evidence for evolution? That's an example of losing something, not gaining something. You lose everything and that's how you get it all? I don't understand.
And this whole thing of losing something is just so fucking ridiculous. It's one of those things that just throw it out in the trash with the rest of what Kent says. But this straw man that's all mutations are. And thus, if mutations drive evolution, then you're just constantly losing stuff, so you can't. No. Shit just changes, yo. Different genes get expressed in different ways. New genes, what we would define as new genes, may get formed. Stuff happens. Things change. It's in the nature of the chemistry of life to not be perfect. It's really that simple. And again, it's an emergent complexity from these very simple processes and very simple mistakes that happen. That usually can be corrected for, but not always. Or sometimes don't need to be corrected for. It's just different. You know, like me. I'm just different. You are a piece of shit. Up yours, Kent. There, got him.
I'd like you to elucidate on that, as you mentioned, okay? Then you said snakes have pelvic bones. You've got to be kidding. I'll cover all these if you'd like in great detail, and I may have to add you to my list. I just heard of you today. I have a long list to whack an atheist.
Yeah, that is Kent's exact MO. He's just waiting for those keywords, go to slide 1476 and go on. And, ooh, Kent threatened to whack Dave. Oh, that's such a horror. You gonna whack me, Kent? Huh? You want to come whack me, Kent? I'm waiting. Come on. Or do I say too many words you don't like? Or am I too mean? Did the big mean atheist hurt your feelings, Kent? Motherfucker probably cries in the corner every time he sees me pop up when he searches himself. Because you know he searches himself all the time on YouTube. You know he does. In between PowerPoint slides and telling women to get back in the kitchen, he's Googling himself constantly. What's the newest thing on Camp Hovind? Let me check YouTube. Crucia Tomato put up another video. Why does he keep picking on me? Uh, I would, I would, I would talk about his videos, but he says too many mean words.
That I do every Wednesday night. So it'd be an honor to whack you with a little bit of science and knowledge. And we use SpongeBob, and I'll put your name on there and try to get a little science and knowledge.
Please, Viacom, could you just annihilate Kent's channel for the constant depictions of SpongeBob? I would just love that. It'd be so fucking hilarious. Because I've seen better people lose their channels for worse through the decades. Anyone old enough to remember when YouTube poops were a big thing? I mean, they still make them. They're still funny. Me and my buddy Prince Watercrest still laugh at them. But back in the days of Colgate and Dr. Rabbit, and how many channels got deleted because of that shit? Because Colgate was pissed at people making comedy videos over that? Yeah. Come on, Viacom. Y'all took down better channels for less. Y'all can do the same.
In there and whack you back into common sense. No, none of these are evidence for evolution. The title of the debate is, does the evidence support creation or evolution? Well, some book that you refer to, the Bible, claims that God created the heaven and the earth. That's what it claims. You claim that a single...
Whew, Nathan Oakley, that's a special gentleman right there.
Singularity, whatever that is, produced everything in the Big Bang. That's ludicrous at many levels. It doesn't explain where space or time or matter or energy came from. Where did the laws come from?
Kent did constant whacking in prison. He led so many people to the Lord. They were screaming Jesus' name when he was done, so he must have been doing the job right. Got him.
Like the law of gravity, centrifugal force, these various laws. Where did those laws come from?
Oh, and there he goes with the where the laws come from. If there's a law, there has to be a lawgiver. It's like, laws are descriptive, you dumbass. Just like how theory doesn't mean guess like you idiots think it does. These people are special. So special. Not in the good way. Ken asked if I'm related to a banana. I tell Kent to stop staring at my dick. Just a Nateo. Providing hot comedic takes. It'd be an honor to whack you. Yeah, Kent really needs to watch his verbiage there, doesn't he? Shit, I bet Viacom doesn't even know he exists. Yeah, I mean, he really doesn't. It's his constant thing of SpongeBob and Mr. Batman. Now, I mentioned in a video actually released earlier today about copyright, and that I'm kind of mixed on the way I am with copyright. But it suffices to say that copyright and trademarking of things like the Batman character and various iconography and stuff not being done for parody, but being taken like whole cloth. It's not like you have Catman and it's kind of themed like Batman and it's parody, it's cute. No. That Mr. Batman dude, his entire thing is themed after mainly 60s campy Batman. And I'm like, DC, please take this shit. Annihilate this, because it's just blatant abuse. And I'm not for that. I don't care necessarily about companies. It's just the principle of that kind of theft bothers me. In the same way of stealing anybody's art. Any ideas people came up with. It just feels wrong to me. And to use it to brand yourself for that kind of bullshit, I'm just like, fuck this. North Texas Fossils says, we just watched the C19 virus evolve in real time. The DNA code mutated and produced variants in the shape of the spike protein that allowed it to attach to cells in a new way. Yep, but it's still a virus. Yeah, Kent, and viruses, depending on how you define life, aren't actually alive. Which should be another interesting thing for him to try to explain, is why we would have something that's very lifelike, but doesn't actually meet the definition of life, but is still close enough that it interacts with life to the degree that it does. Almost as if chemistry is the key factor.
We'll cover that sometime. The Bible claims clearly that Jesus Christ is the Word of God, and he created everything. In John chapter 1, you can read that for yourself. Jesus created everything. That's what he claims, because Jesus is God Almighty in the flesh, and you will stand.
No, he isn't angry at Professor Dave again. This was we're rewatching the old original debate to have some fun, some laughs. It was suggested last night, and I always wanted to kind of cover this more directly. So we're turning into a nice group thing for the evening. You know, we're making great time. 14 minutes, 30 seconds into the debate, and the stream has been going for like 45 minutes.
Before him one day, Dave, as your judge, whether you like that or not, coming soon to a city near you. Jesus claimed that the creation of Adam was the beginning when he made Adam and Eve, Matthew 19:4 and Mark 10:6. And the Bible clearly claims in the Ten Commandments in 6.
Yeah, that is true. Donnie does infringe a little too far, I'd say, on Superman theming. And yeah, the public domain thing for those original versions is interesting, but you have to remember that it is those original versions, like how Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse went into public domain at the beginning of this year. That it always applies to a particular rendition, that particular creative work. And when trademarks and such are reinforced through the years, brand, identity is upheld, it creates, again, I'm no copyright lawyer, but it creates a setting of, we're basically recreating, or reestablishing a new version of this, and therefore that gets its own specialty protections. So, like if the original version of Sonic the Hedgehog from 1990, 1991 art, when that goes into public domain, that doesn't mean that the Sonic, movies are going to go into public domain. Not the best analogy, but just the thing that came to mind. If you like Sonic the Hedgehog, you might have autism. Yeah, we gathered. No one said that. I was just thinking it. Point evolution on things either alive or dead. Yeah, because this evolutionary processes, as far as biology goes, it's working with organic chemistry and self-replicating molecules, because that's the critical facet of life, is the self-replication. Out of all of it, if you dumb it down to past even the simplest form, I'd say the self-replicating molecule aspect is the critical one. So yeah, Ken's been saying coming soon for 35 years. Kent needs better medicine. That's all I'm saying. Okay, yeah, Zach, I'm glad it made sense to you. But you bring up valid points, so don't think that you were wrong to any degree. It's, again, like everything, complete nuance. This is us, working together to figure out stuff. All biology reduces to chemistry, exactly.
6 days, the Lord made heaven and earth. Well, that would really very simply explain all the symbiotic relationships that we see. Plants give off oxygen, take in CO2. Animals take in oxygen, give off CO2. They reciprocate the gases. It's a symbiotic relationship. There are millions of symbiotic relationships in nature. Certain plants require certain animals. I think that defies an evolutionary explanation.
Except that evolutionary science has explained just about all of it. I haven't seen a symbiotic relationship that hasn't been pretty well explained. We have existing branches of particular creatures, particular, organisms and such that show us the properties before the one that's now stuck in the symbiotic relationship would have developed that necessity. And we can kind of see how everything came about as just one example of many. I mean, I'm sure y'all have got a bunch that you can bring up in the chat. So please bring up your favorite symbiotic relationship and how that came about, because I want to know.
But God said he simply did it all in 6 days. Now, you can choose to deny that, as I'm sure you've chosen to believe that it didn't happen that way, but you cannot possibly know that it didn't happen that way. So Jesus said the creation was when God made Adam and Eve, and the Bible says clearly that man brought death into the world. Romans chapter...
You're wasting time chasing Sonic. Gotta go fast.
Chapter 5, 1 Corinthians 15, man introduced... The reason the world has problems today in death and suffering at all levels is because of...
Oh yes, so many parasites. We're looking at one of them on the screen right now. This guy in the upper left with the weird dinosaur thingy behind him wearing the shitty Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, that's one of the biggest parasites I've ever seen.
A man's sin. Yet your religion of evolution teaches that death brought man into the world. Billions and trillions of things had to die for man to get here. Exact opposite of what the Bible teaches, just so you understand.
Except the Bible teaches that God killed literally everything except 8 humans and a subset of kinds that were stored on an ark on a boat. Because he was just couldn't think of a better way to just reset things. It really can't. It's like every single major problem with your magic book of bullshit, and so you just explicitly reverse it because that's all you can do to make yourself be able to sleep at night. That and probably jerk off to the money you got. Ben Franklin.
You're welcome to have that religion, but it is indeed a religion, and it is indeed completely contrary to the Bible. Did man bring death to the world, or did death bring man? So Jesus said the creation of Adam was the beginning. Of course, you're calling him a liar at this point. The Bible says nothing died until man sinned, and you're calling the Bible a liar. And the Bible says Adam was the first man. That's what it says. And Eve was the mother of all living. The Bible says we all came from Adam and Eve. I think you could trace that back scientifically to mitochondrial Eve and Y chromosome Adam if you'd like. But the dates in the Bible add up to about, it says Adam was 130 and
AJ dropping bangers. Rolling around at the speed of drowned. Ooh. I just thought of something horrible. If they had been filming when the kid had the accident at DAL and I had the video, I could put the Sonic drowning music over it. That would be extremely cruel. But I'm not saying it's not something I would at least toy with for the laughs. Would never release. For Easter this past year, I was going to do Jesus getting crucified in some film and sync it up to George Michael, Careless Whisper. And I couldn't get it to do right. And I just didn't feel like pushing a little harder for a joke that at the time before I started doing this content, I was like, this might offend too many people. I don't want to deal with the arguments. I'm not against these things on a try it out ground. It's just a matter of, there's a time and a place for everything. Oh, no.
Seth was 105 and Enos was 90. If you add up the dates in the Bible, you're going to get what everybody else gets. The earth was created about 4,000 BC or 6,000 years ago. That is a clear teaching of Scripture. And obviously you don't believe that because you need.
You are very, very welcome, North Texas Fossils. He left a message saying, thank you and others for doing these debunk videos. It's important for people who have been misled into creationism to see why it's nonsense. Now, to be fair, I don't do much debunking per se. I just do a whole lot of comedic chatter and the like because I don't have anything substantive to say. And that's the best I can do because I'm not the genius Kent Hovind is. And by that, I mean Kent's an idiot. No, all seriousness, though, other people have said everything that needs to be said about young earth creationism and the like infinitely better. At this stage, my entire goal is to milk the lol cow that is Kent Hovind for every laugh we can get out of him. If this had been 15, 16 years ago, I'd be doing Chris Chan content. But here we are now. So this is just the lol cow I decided to milk. Kent will never understand that, and that's fine. But that's why I do this, honestly, because he's such a pathetic asshole. And he's wrong.
Billions of years for your frog to turn to a prince. You see, Dave, when a frog turns to a prince.
Favorite symbiotic relationship is me and my gut bacteria. Without them, I'd be in big trouble from soot kettle. Yeah, and that's pretty terrifying to think about, like high radiation situations where the bacteria inside of you get irradiated. They're gone. Your cells might be in okay shape, except when they try to duplicate, but you start losing those gut bacteria immediately and things start going downhill real quick. Naturally, that's the biggest fear with gamma ray bursts. Who was that guy in Japan who got the lethal radiation dose when they were pouring basically a radioactive water mix into something, and the critical density was reached and dude got irradiated real bad. I cannot remember his name, but he was alive for like 40 to 60 days or something, and it's very tragic, his the way things went. But one of the key things that first things that really started making things bad was the fact that his entire gut ecosystem was gone within days. Now I feel bad. Let's take a moment of silence for. I'm gonna look up who that was real quick. Is this still good? Yeah. Hisashi Oichi, 83 days. Hisashi Oichi. So, yeah. Just be glad you didn't get critically irradiated today. And don't go playing around with demon cores, all right? Let's lighten this up by laughing at Kent Hovind.
By kissing it, that's called a fairy tale. But replacing the kiss with billions of years is still not going to turn the frog to a prince. It is still a fairy tale, Dave, that you are teaching and believing and teaching to others. The Bible dates that up to 6,000. Now, all the evidence that we see, and the purpose of the debate is, what does the evidence show? Evidence shows that one single cell, is more complicated than a space shuttle. Darwin thought a cell was a glob of jelly, not much to it. Now we know it's one cell, more complicated than the most complex machine ever built by man. All the evidence shows that design demands a designer at every level. At every level, design demands a designer.
And you haven't demonstrated that anything in biology is designed. In fact, everything about biology seems to indicate it's an iterative process of very simple reactions and very simple structures, constantly replicating, constantly being added onto themselves, an emergent complexity that results in the life that we have today. So you're just wrong, Kent. I talked about not doing debunks, but then I do stuff like that, and I'm kind of eloquent with it for once in my damn life. So I guess maybe I do a little debunking. And then I laugh at Kent and his nunt.
Evidence shows that information does not arise by random chance. It just doesn't happen. So let's see, 1402. I won't have time to cover all.
Kent was more cruel to the family than that. Well, it makes me feel a little better for the Sonic 2 joke, because Kent was pretty terrible. It's just like a kid drowned, if that family had fun, should they come back? It's like, that was fucking crazy. And the fact that they had a great time while their family member, a small boy, was drowning to death. Seriously, fuck Kent. As a college biology major, every lesson I take debunks Hovind. Yeah, all you gotta do is learn more. When you actually read the books, it's just read the science, even just a basic Wikipedia, cursory look through stuff. So fucking enlightening, so incredible. And then if you want to go deeper, there'll be links down below to go deeper, on Wikipedia, not in my stuff. If you see the links down below in my chat, or in my description, you're going to find more and more stupidity. So if that's your thing, follow my links. Or don't. I don't care. I'm not your daddy. I'm not going to beat you if you don't go to my BBS. Kent will. So if you don't go to my bulletin board system and sign up, that's right, fire up Telnet. Nah, it's got a web interface. Point is, Kent will beat you. He will find you. And he will beat you. Because that's what he does. I don't know. I'm just acting goofy now. Let's continue.
All this, so I'll add this when I do the Whack and Atheist here. Let's see. Alt DV 1402. What's happening here, Steve? It's not working. Steve.
My slides aren't working, Steve. Yeah, Kent completely gave up on the R and Raw discussion after getting completely mixed up on what round, what turn, what everything was. Producing multiple hour-long videos on the stuff, which, funny, they're gone from Kent's channel because, Kent got his channel nuked. But they're still on R and Raws for people to enjoy, but R uncovered everything he needed to with that clown, and then proceeded to debunk his entire Lies in the Textbook series to just incredible precision.
Steven.
I've got it on this one. Oh, there it goes. Okay.
1 second. Dave, I was also going to mention, I think that your camera might have stopped, just so in case you didn't know. Not a big deal. If it was,
did it?
Okay. Are we on?
There.
Austin, glad you're up to 100. You definitely deserve more. Definitely deserve better growth. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't took off sooner. Oh well, YouTube sucks like that. You'll get there.
Are you pausing the time here, John or James?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. In the movie with Tom Hanks,
Right. remember when fuck, I forget the one dude's name, but it was the other guy. John Morris Pendleton was obsessed with the whole pterosaur thing in Zacatecas, Mexico. Uh, and he was so hell. I just want to know what the hell is a dude from Wisconsin doing, living and teaching creation science in the middle of Mexico? It just seems so weird, like so out of place. Like he got exiled there or something, which is always weird to me. But yeah, he was hell bent on capturing live pterosaurs and the like, and it's just like obviously never happened. Some days I miss him, but then I remember when he emailed Logic, he was a complete dick that time. So just like all creationists, he's a complete asshole.
Green Mile. It was a fact. There was evidence that 2 girls are missing. No question. The girls are gone. A massive manhunt was organized. It is a fact, in the movie at least, John Coffey is found holding the 2 dead girls. That's a fact. The evidence showed clearly they're missing. When they're found, he's holding the 2 dead girls. It's a fact he was arrested and executed for the crime, in the movie at least. So that's a fact. That's the evidence showed that he did it. It was also a fact that he didn't do it. It's a fact that this guy did it in the movie. So I think what you're looking at is you're completely.
Yeah, I always like to nitpick at that whole space shuttle thing, and I say it jokingly, and for some reason people always take me seriously. It's like, I don't think Kent would want to debate that. When I say a joke like, I'd love to discuss the actual complexity of the space shuttle with him, it's like, I know he wouldn't. The point is, he doesn't know shit about anything, and I would love to actually simplify the space shuttle to a point where suddenly saying life is more complex than the space shuttle doesn't seem like that amazing of a thing. Because the shuttle orbiters, external tank, booster stacks, they were awesome. Weren't that crazy. Not much more crazy than Saturn. Honestly, Saturn V, I'd say, was far more of an intricate system. Definitely a more intricate launch vehicle, more complex, if you will. But of course, that boils down to getting Kent to define complexity rather than just saying, when something's complex. Certainly not the thoughts going on inside of your head, Kent.
Misinterpreting the evidence. You're seeing similarities of different creatures and assuming you're concluding common ancestor rather than common designer. You're doing the same thing that the people did in the movie here with executing the wrong guy. You're executing the wrong guy. You're claiming this book right here, which you obviously have quite a hatred for some reason. You're claiming this book has errors.
Yeah, you're doing better than me on or what my growth was early on, but I was obviously, this is way back, and I was trying completely different stuff at the time, so there's that. But I mean, it has been a hot minute since your debate with Kent, so I just thought that would, boom, there's this new kid on the block, and he's really articulate. Let's go, check him out. That's just how I felt it would go.
I'd like to see some of those errors. You're claiming it's not a science book. It has absolutely no science in it whatsoever. Really, I think I could go show you thousands of scientific facts in this Bible. It says in this book that all the animals will bring forth after their kind. Cows produce cows, dogs produce dogs. That's a fact, Dave. This book says they'll always bring forth after.
There you go. I love how articulate my audience is because I'm a rambling idiot most of the time. From North Texas fossils, modern biological complexity is the result of accumulation of bits over 1 billion plus years of evolution. Kant pretends it's the result of probability and therefore was created all at once. Very, very nice summation.
After their kind, would you please show me where any animal has ever brought forth something other than its kind? And no fossils could possibly count. I can't believe you listed as evidence fossils. As you know well, fossils don't count as anything except something died. Bones in the dirt do not indicate something changed. Why does no animal today have the ability to change?
This must be read, and I do not care if there's audio of me saying this out there from the lovely Deviant Outcast. If it wasn't so repulsive to think about, and if demons was a thing, I'd say, may demons fuck you in the neck, pussy Kent, because only demon cum could ever garble your nonsense to make sense of it. Wow. Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
To something else, but you think a bone in the dirt could do it. That's not.
And our friend Austin is promoting his channel, saying, my channel is mostly to reach out to people who are getting out from under Kent, Ham, Comfort, any of those guys, which is a very, 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 very noble cause. just straight up. I mean, you already know you've got my support, but I just want to make that public that I consider that very, very honorable to do.
Science, son. Bones can't talk. They don't have a date stamped on them. We're putting our interpretation on them. No plant or animal today can produce anything other than its kind. And if you object to the word kind, I'm sorry. The word species is also pretty hard to define exactly. I covered that the other night on my Bible study here. Whack an atheist. What exactly is a species? If you look up species, it'll give one of the definitions of species as kind. I think in 99% of the cases, it's obvious what a same kind is. Okay, I think my time.
And you ever notice that Kent will always ensure that he uses up his entire time to ramble on? I mean, I know we all know that, but just like, you always notice it. You always hear Donnie, or in this case, back here when he actually bothered to go on this channel, James, telling him the time. No one else has that issue, just Kent.
Time is up. Anyway, love your style, love your goal. You're completely wrong, Dave. I'll try to get you converted tonight. Okay, go for it.
Okay, ready to discuss?
You betcha.
James?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, so apart from the same ridiculous pageantry that you offer in every debate where you talk about frogs turning into princes and cars assembling from tornadoes, all of which have nothing to do with evolution.
You're welcome, Austin. And Polyaz's Cracker Mini Painting asks, has Kent ever defined kinds yet? I mentioned earlier he did do a video that I did take a look at trying to define kind, but all he really did was prattle on about species and its multiple definitions and stuff for like 45 minutes. He never really defined kind because it's always like, oh, well, you know what a kind is. They know what their kind is. Just always some weird sophistry. Just, yeah, always something. So, yeah, Zach here providing the short answer of no, he didn't.
Whatsoever, but you used to trick simple-minded people into believing your lies. Most of what you talked about in your 8 minutes was based on the Bible, not science. So you talked a lot about the Bible. So let's go to the Bible first. Number one, why do I care what the Bible says? And number two, you mentioned something about there's nothing wrong in the Bible or something like that. Is that what you're saying?
I've read it for 51 years.
Huh?
I've read it for 51 years now. I'm unaware of any scientific errors in that book. Do you know of a specific scientific error?
I have some passages I'd like to share with you. Is that okay?
Okay, aside from everyone talking about Thrussie in the chat. Oh, that is not going to be a chat emoji anytime soon. It's totally going to be a chat emoji when I remember to make some. Oh yeah, it's only Saturday, so I've got tomorrow to work on stupid stuff. In that and play Guild Wars. We have Justin Ateo here. Canada is going to deport Donnie's all years America. I propose a trade. I move to Canada. Donnie moves down here. Everything's good. Win-win.
Well, first of all, is the purpose of this debate tonight to show that the Bible is wrong? You're supposed to be presenting evidence.
And here's the perfect example of Kent not wanting to touch the Bible. He doesn't want to try to actually actively defend the Bible. Another reason he always structures his debates as someone defending evolution when that doesn't need defense. The Bible needs defense. But he doesn't want to admit that it's the weak argument.
Evidence that evolution is true.
But the Bible is your only piece of evidence for creationism. So I'm going to show you that it's not.
Kent evolving into a turkey. Yeah, I think he is. Someone should probably bring that up at some point. It's like, Kent, you're evolving into a turkey with that thing on your neck, and just see how he reacts. Oh, the ad hominem. It's like, no, it's just an insult, Kent. Get over it.
It's not evidence for
Dave,
you just said that the Bible
I have two eyes, 2 ears, and a mind. I can see animals produce after their kind. Cows produce.
Yeah, Tubi, and as we're getting at right here as I pause, that's really his entire definition of kind, but it's like when you try to hold him to it and get a clear-cut line, he can never do it, and that's the problem, is that there's no rigor to his view, no rigidity to the concept to where things can be defined, in the best... in the best way for actual practical value in scientific research, in understanding things. That's the thing about creationist concepts, is that none of them have any actual practical value at all. We all know that, but I mean, when you think about it, it's like, yeah, this is useless. Kind is useless.
What is a kind, Kent? What is a kind?
You're missing the point. Do you agree?
No, I'm not missing
that
the point.
animals always
You
produce
define the
after their
word.
kind?
What is a kind?
Well, originally it was those that could originally reproduce, and they might have diversified now where we have Alaska
Okay, so
rabbits
you
and
mean
Florida rabbits.
species? To bring forth from their kind, do you mean
It
species?
doesn't use the word species. That's Carolus Linnaeus's term. I believe, I don't know if he made up the word species, but
But
I
you're
think
talking
it's
about bringing forth. So a species is organisms that can produce viable, fertile offspring. So
Well,
is
they
that what you
originally
mean by
could.
kind?
Okay. If a man or a woman today is sterile and cannot produce children at all, are they still
No,
part
but
of human?
Homo sapiens in general, Homo
Well, hold it. They
sapiens in
can't.
general.
John, Dave, they can't reproduce. They're no longer.
Kent, you're arguing against your own definition of kind there in this weird backwards way. Like, do you know what you're saying, Kent? Oh no, of course not.
human.
Okay,
Is that right?
so
Because at this point, it's an active conversation, and you're not good at active listening and active discourse. You're good at reading from your script.
it's not a species. You're saying a kind is not a species?
I think the word kind and species probably are synonymous at many levels.
Yeah, I've heard you say this before, Austin. For those of you who haven't heard this sentiment from Austin, Kent always says we're going to see him standing next to God when we get to the afterlife. I want to turn that on him. Kent, you'll see us standing next to God, then we'll watch evolution happen. Such a beautiful, beautiful image in my mind. Just watching him realize he's been completely wrong, we were always right, and that he was just truly an absolute asshole.
But I wouldn't
No.
restrict it to that.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You have to say what a kind is. If a kind is a species, then you're saying that they're not new species, and you're wrong.
I second the statement. I hope one day the Creation Museum in Kentucky gets turned into a great wolf lodge. Oh yes. Oh yes. This is the part where I put in a Guild Wars reference, but we're not there yet. We're getting close. Hour 11 minutes, 31 seconds. Yeah, we're close to some Guild Wars references.
Wrong, because speciation occurs. If you're saying that a kind is anything other than a species, then that statement does not contradict evolution whatsoever, because every time new organisms come forth, they are part of that kind, which is a clade. You're talking about anything else, you're talking about mammals, talking about eukaryotes, whatever it is that you're talking about, evolution does not require.
Austin brings up animals decide what species they are by choosing what they will attempt to mate with. Species is a useful concept, but it isn't infallible. This is true. I mean, we're just trying to group things in a practical way. That's where the value is in it. Kent's in the biblical attempt to group things worked for the time and for such a tiny view of reality, such a myopic view of history, but it has no practical value in the real world.
For new kinds to occur. They will always be within that kind. So you're either wrong or you're not contradicting evolution. Which one is it?
All right, James, I would request that you kind of keep track of.
And there we go, Kent getting desperate. Half the time he's trying to monopolize the time. Half the time. Shut up, Kent. Get over it.
The time. It looks like he's trying to monopolize all of the time. I would like half the time, please. So if you can please moderate as you're supposed to. Okay, Dave, would you please tell me what is the best example you know of any creature producing something other than the same species? What is the best example of a new species?
Do you know what polyploidy is?
I do.
What is it?
Polyploidy is a doubling of the chromosome number. It doesn't add any new information at all.
I despise this creationist concept of information because it implies that there's anything other than just chemicals doing what chemicals do insofar as biology and gene expression and the like. And yeah, for the way of us thinking about it, we can think of DNA like a code, but in all practicality, it's just chemical compounds doing things. You get a long enough string of them together that are going to do the right thing to make, an arm and something. There you go. It's still just chemical reactions. So that whole side business about calling it information and stuff is just a kind of red herring.
It's the same
okay.
information. It's the
Does
same
it produce a new
information
species?
doubled.
Does it
So
produce
if I
a new
take a
species?
videotape, if I copy a videotape and I go, oh wow, I got two videotapes, they're identical. It's the same information, Dave.
I got two videotapes. They're identical, even though VHS degradation happens. Kent, Here's something funny you could have tried if you weren't busy, being a dumbass through the years back in the VHS days. If you constantly duplicate tapes, like copy a tape and then make a copy of that copy and keep on going, something amazing happens through degradation. You end up creating something new. It's going to be a kind of abstract noise, but you create something new. Yet it's still descended from that original video that was on that first tape. Think about it. Take all the time you need to think about what that might mean in regard to evolution. Tiny little defects adding on to create something new, something beautiful. Just depends on perspective.
Then why is the organism not able to interbreed with the parent organisms? It's a new species.
Detrimental.
Polyploidy produces new species.
Polyploidy produces things that usually.
Well, when God was creating everything, he had to boot up the mainframe, and then he wrote the instructions in COBOL for Adam's DNA, but then forgot to do the JCL, so he had to encase it in JCL so the mainframe could actually run the job control language. And then eventually he realized COBOL sucked, and so he went on to C, but then he forgot to carry the 1, and that's why he had to flood the earth. So then he switched over to C++, and that didn't go any better. And then decided Ruby on Rails was what worked for him, and then gave up and just became an Android developer with Java. There's the universe history, according to Chris. Book of Chris, chapter 1, verse 47. God hated COBOL.
Usually are infertile and cannot reproduce at all.
That's not true at all. That's not true at all. So many plants that you eat. Kent, stop. When you say something wrong, I'm going to correct you. I'm not interrupting you. When you say something wrong, I'm going to correct you. What you just said is demonstrably.
You have no idea how many times I've had to do that in real life, is be like, I'm not interrupting you, I'm correcting you. When you say something wrong, I have to correct you. Well before I ever saw this debate, and it's happened plenty of times since. I've had to say those exact words.
Demonstrably wrong. Many of the plants that you eat are tetraploid, hexaploid, octoploid. Many plants have evolved through polyploidy. And that's an example of instant speciation.
Let's give Kent a chance to respond now.
And when you are wrong, I'm going to correct you, Dave. This book is the book that God preserved for us to read. You're going to be judged by this book.
Well, we didn't get a chance to talk about the Bible because I had some passages I wanted to share with you.
Sure. We can do that another time. But
Sure. We can do that another time. The another time never came. For Dave is still waiting to discuss the Bible with 0645-2017, and that was a nice bit of thunder right there. As you can see, we still have power. For those who don't know, there is a storm running through, and there is a chance, a non-zero chance, more than usual, that I could lose power. So if that happens, is what it is.
Hexaploidy, any of those, all they are, as I think I pointed out earlier and already answered the question, it is a doubling or tripling or quadrupling of existing information. Is there new information added with polyploidy? I mean, new information.
Yes, there is if two polyploid gametes fertilize one another.
What is the new information that's added?
The information from two gametes.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up the Bible. The Book of Chris, however, is written by a moderately secure man who likes women. So it is definitely a better book. And it'll be a more honest book whenever I get off my ass and actually write it.
Information from two gametes. Do you not know how meiosis works, Kent? Do you not know how meiosis works?
Meiosis. Well, I'll just say one thing now. Polyploidy. So there's a lot of prey out there that are running from predators. Rabbits have been running from predators for a long time. Why haven't any of them evolved wings? Don't you think that would help?
That's not how evolution works.
And that's 90% of the time the answer to anything Kent asks is like, that's not how it works at all. So your entire understanding and concept is completely wrong. And I don't see why people watching these things who follow people like Kent and stuff, if they were honestly thinking about any of this stuff, because we know they're not, but if they were, when someone says that's just not how it works, to not think for a second, especially if it happens multiple times, where we're repeatedly telling and reacting the same way to the shit Kent says, that they don't think, maybe they're right. Maybe I should look into this on my own without it being distorted through Kent Hovind, the lens of Kent Hovind. But of course, that's the nature of cults, where even thinking such is anathema.
Evolution doesn't work at all. Okay, there is no evolution.
No,
What do
you,
mean
you
that's not
can't
how it
just
works?
say
It doesn't work.
evolution didn't do this or didn't do that. Evolution is random mutation by chance that is then selected for by natural selection. You can't say that evolution didn't do this one thing that I think it should do. Nature is blind. That is not a valid argument.
Would you please give the audience an example of something that has been a mutation that has added new information? Not doubling existing information like plotting.
What do you mean by new information? Every single mutation is new information. It's a change in a base pair. That's new information. Every mutation is new information.
Whoa,
Stacy, hello. Welcome to the party.
whoa. I'm going to quote you on that one. Every mutation is new information.
Yeah.
Everyone say hi to Stacy, because she's awesome.
Instead of a G, there's a T, or instead of an A, there's a C. How is that not new information?
So if we make a typographical error in typing a book, that is going to create a new thing, a new
DNA
word,
is not a book,
a new plot.
Crypto bringing up, we know how flight evolved, Kent, and we have pretty good ideas on how it came out. The good chunk of them were originally arboreal. Yeah, and then just the formation of wings themselves, feathers, I should say, as a method of insulation. And they just also happen to have an interesting property, if you held your arms out the right way of, hey, I can stay in the air a little longer because quirks of physics. Aerodynamicism is a natural thing that's going to happen. It's generally better to be at least somewhat aerodynamic, smooth. That's why we're not all big Minecraft bricks walking around, right? So it makes sense that feathers might end up having some properties that go that way and prove to be beneficial. Because if they weren't beneficial, if they were slowing the creature down, that would suck, wouldn't it?
See, this is what you do.
Hold on one second. I mean, like.
And yeah, Tubian, Arnrod pointed out that wings on a rabbit or horse would disprove evolution because we know how wings evolved. Wings are forearms. They have to be forearms. That's how they work. That's where they originated from. If you had something like a Pegasus, that would disprove evolution. That would show special creation. But all these creationist claims that this, that, and the other is indicative of creation don't actually hold up because nothing is special. Everything seems so closely related to the other. It's almost as if it's all directly related.
Like if he wants to do an analogy, like it's, I think it's like fair game.
But his analogies are always
like. Yeah. Well, I mean, like I'm totally okay. Like if he has a moment to explain the analogy, and then we'll definitely come right back to you.
Okay, finish the analogy, and then I'll tell you why it's stupid.
Okay, I asked you, what is the best example you know of an animal that created a new species that had to contain new information? What would you give me?
Yeah, and I use polyploidy because it's undeniable because it happened instantly in one generation,
so
as opposed to speciation.
Give me a specific.
Events.
What is a specific plant or animal that with polyploidy has added new information that made it into a different species?
Most of the plants that there's tons of plants that you eat, like bananas.
Yes, much like the hilarity of the heat problem, the hyper-evolution required by creationists is just so amazing. And they just look at you like, what are you talking about when you bring it up? And it's like, you just don't get it, do you?
And stuff like that.
Okay. So bananas are an example of evolution.
Strawberries are octoploid, huh?
Okay. So a strawberry that became octoploidy, it 8 times the volume. All they end up with those giant strawberries that taste terrible. Is it still a strawberry, Dave?
What do you mean that tastes terrible? All strawberries. We're talking about all strawberries.
This is just freaking hilarious where Kent doesn't even know what he's talking about like he ever does, but where it's just so blatantly demonstrated. And he's like, huh? And instead of owning it, Kent doubles down and then just moves on. It's so funny.
What do you mean that tastes terrible? What are you talking about?
Well, I've seen the giant strawberries they produce with octoploidy, and they're hollow and they taste terrible in my humble opinion. But that's okay.
Strawberries are...
And with octoploidy, it's like you're not even describing these things right. You're not even talking about the subject matter correctly. And y'all know I am extremely picky about that. And granted, I have a bombastic way of speaking and fudge up on stuff. But for someone who's supposed to be touting themselves as superior to everybody's intellect and I would truly expect more accurate language used on these subjects. than to say that have octoploidy, when the phrasing would be that are octoploid.
Octoploid. Strawberries,
Okay.
not the special whatever you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's still a strawberry.
But it, Kent, this is
it's a simple yes or no, Dave. Is it still a strawberry?
What are you talking about? We're talking about
You got a strawberry and turned it into a strawberry. What are you talking about?
These are different species. Okay, I'm using polyploid as a species. We can talk about speciation. Did you not see that list I provided?
No, I want a simple answer. Your answer was strawberry.
All I'll say is that Kent seems to be very obsessed with fruits. Take that for what you will.
These are a great example of octoploidy. There's no new information. It's still a strawberry.
How is it not new information? How do you not understand? How?
AJ, which Luigi we talking about?
Okay, see, when you say things like frog turning into a prince, you're just revealing that you are a con man. Why are you saying things like frog turning into a prince and a car doesn't make itself from a tornado? These things are not valid analogies. You're saying that a tornado doesn't make a car. What the hell does that have to do with evolution? It's a man-made object. Your argument is basically there is a thing that is designed, therefore everything is designed. Okay, well, a snowflake forms spontaneously, so everything forms spontaneously. It's the same thing. The conclusion does not follow from the premise. It's not a valid argument. But
God, that's so fucking beautiful, that moment right there. Just the genuine confusion that Dave has in his voice as he explains something that he clearly expected this idiot to get. And Kent is just dumb as a brick. Cannot. He wants to talk about people comprehending stuff. Cannot comprehend where his analogy breaks down, even when it's explained to him. He's so pathetic.
You say these things to simple-minded people to trick them. I'm not simple-minded, so why are you telling them to me?
I think you are much more simple-minded than you realize. Let me show you the picture here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's the Luigi I thought you were talking about, AJ. I can't wait to see that. Oh man, clip that shit. Do a video on it. That's gonna be fun. Gonna be very fun.
This textbook shows, and I got all the textbooks beside me, that a human and a bird have a...
Hear that, folks? He's got all the textbooks beside him. He knows what's up.
common ancestor, which was an amphibian. Let's see. Let me find a family tree that they show. Here, because I mentioned about the frog and the prince, okay? They have these textbooks with these charts all the time showing all these animals going back to a common ancestor. Do you believe you have a common ancestor with a strawberry, Dave?
Yes.
Okay. You're welcome to believe that.
Sorry, I lost my mute button for a second. I loved how he's just like, yes. It's just like, yeah, go on and run your stupid, try to make it sound ridiculous. Doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't change any of the reality that everything Dave says about this is valid and that you just make up shit as you feel the need, Kent.
That's not science. That's a religion.
Yes, it is science.
Nobody's ever seen a strawberry. Dave, nobody's ever seen a strawberry produce a non-strawberry.
Kent,
you might get a bigger strawberry. Or
that's not what evolution says happens. When
Sorry, I'm eating dinner. Yeah, Erica saying cars don't have sex, Kent, was just the best. We might have to go back and take a look at that down the line. Unlike AJ, who did do the thing that the cars can't do. I mean, he's talking about Luigi Mangione, but it's just following up with cars don't have sex. Yep, I did. AJ sure did. Giggity.
When you say dogs never produce non-dogs and things like that, you're mischaracterizing science. You're mischaracterizing evolution deliberately, again, to trick people into believing you.
From our friend Crypto, a creationist car manufacturer would be a bunch of dudes praying to God and marrying other cars to produce baby cars. Wow. That is so fucked up.
Nothing in evolution ever says that dogs produce non-dogs. Nowhere is that said. What does that have to do with anything?
Okay, let's Dave, calm down. Let's take that.
Can we get an F in the chat for North Texas Fossils cookies? The cookies have been burnt. They are now charcoal cookies. Press F to pay respects.
Statement. Nowhere does evolution say dogs produce non-dogs. Is an amoeba a dog?
No.
Just yes or no. Okay. Did the dog come from an amoeba?
What? They had a common
no,
ancestor.
Dave, come on, yes
They
or
had a
no.
common
Did the
ancestor.
dog come from an amoeba?
What does this have to do with that?
Justin Mateo, after what he did, aren't we all now, AJ? In reference to Lupin's infatuation with Luigi Mangione. Yeah. We're all a little in the applaud factor there. I'll reserve myself. I'm planning a nice article on Zadara regarding Luigi Mangione and the action he is alleged of committing. But needless to say, you know how I feel about it because I've brought it up in AJ's stream a few weeks back. I'm going to do a King of the Hill quote. You done good.
Anything.
You're not
What does this
asking a
have to do with
question,
anything?
son.
It did not
has
come from
everything
an
to do with
amoeba.
everything.
No, it did not come from an amoeba. What does that matter?
Well, the charts in the book show the amoeba turning into all the creatures, including the
No,
dog.
they don't. Show me a book that shows that, Ken. No book shows that.
Let's see.
Show me anything coming from an amoeba.
Okay.
An amoeba is a protist that has a common ancestor with all other eukaryotes. An amoeba is a eukaryote, right? Is an amoeba a eukaryote?
A eukaryote simply means the cell contains a nucleus that's bound in a membrane. That's a common
And it has
design.
many other organelles and very similar metabolic pathways. These are all the history of evolution.
And I'll use the same terminology you've been using. In your simple mind, you think because they're all eukaryotes.
Oh, Hovind being so petty. We got crypto popping in. Let the image of two Volkswagens humping like ladybugs permeate in your brain. Guarantee you go to Rule 34, you will find that art. You've got to. If it doesn't exist, I know a guy. All right. I know some pretty strange people.
Therefore, they're all related. Couldn't that not be a common design? You know, all the cars on the highway have metal in them, iron.
You're just using the exact same analogy.
All the cars have metal in them, iron. And Dave's just like, the fuck are you on about? Oh, this is so beautiful.
Why are you talking about cars? They're not biological organisms. This is not a valid analogy.
Oh,
you're saying that there's something designed, therefore everything is designed.
No. Adding biological ability to reproduce makes it 1 trillion times more complicated, much harder for you. It'd be much simpler for a skateboard.
No, it doesn't, Kent. It just straight doesn't. What I want to know is, let's see. I'm going to let this play a bit, or AJ, I'm going to let the debate play while I get this video ready for us to watch, because this going to be good.
Do you know what a paternity test is? Do you know what a paternity test is?
Here we go. 202. DV 202. You asked for, here is a tree of life used in the textbooks that shows humans and arthropods and worms coming from a single cell, sponges. Do you believe we all came from sponges, Dave? Do you believe this textbook is right? You do? Okay. How about this one? Humans and trees and reptiles.
Hang on, guys. I have a sad announcement. I lost a subscriber since I started this stream. I feel bad now. I'm going to go cry in a corner. I offended somebody. Someone who probably hadn't watched my shit since the day they subscribed. Some channel that's probably dead as hell. They're gone. Never to be seen again. I'm down to just 950 instead of 951. I laugh because I used to have a friend in the 951 area code. So, you know, I remember that. All right, anyway, I'm going to keep this playing and go find that video clip. So give me just a moment.
Reptiles all came from a protist. So if it wasn't an amoeba, did we all come from a protist? Do you believe that? Is this textbook right?
I believe it may have been some kind of protist, yeah.
Okay. How about this one? Humans and birds and mosquitoes all came from, look at this, and worms and snakes and sharks all came from, let's see, an amoeba. There it is. Do you believe?
Okay, we're going to have a little fun here. We're going to share this tab instead. Double check that everything's copacetic. There we go. All right, and let's play AJ's clip real quick for some comedy. I'm going to give that a like.
Not gonna lie. I mean, he's a good-looking dude. I mean, I guarantee you that was the first thing that whenever people saw like his face, they were like, "Oh man, like yeah." But that dude, that's a good looking dude, and people, you don't see a lot of people looking like that, like so.
Yeah, like you, Lupin. You sure don't look like that.
Kidding? Really? You playing? Tell me you're playing.
I mean, I don't know.
Tell me you're playing. Tell me you're playing.
I don't.
Just tell me you're playing. Just tell me that, and I'll be okay.
I'm playing. I mean, I don't look at
Look,
dudes.
tell me you're playing. Come on, just take a look.
All right, I'm playing. I mean, the only time I see somebody that good looking is whenever I look in the mirror. Okay, I mean,
Oh, major copium. He's like, no, I'm totally not, not being gay for Luigi. I just, I mean, I look at myself and I'm the highest thing ever. Lupin.
Yeah, amen.
dude.
God damn it, I muted myself. Well, there you go. You got a, that was your nice, breather from the insanity of Kent Hovind. Going right back in, baby.
An amoeba turned to a dog? That's my original question.
The amoeba is not at the root of the tree, and no, it's not saying that amoeba turned into a dog.
Okay.
You
Let's
are
try this one then.
mischaracterizing science, and
Okay,
it's
I
an
don't want-
argument really. All you're
Dave,
saying
the
is,
last-
I don't
hold it.
understand it, so it can't be true. That's what you're doing.
The last thing I want to do is mischaracterize science. I think you are misrepresenting
No, that's
science.
that's your MO. That's what you do all day long. That's all that you do.
That's
when you
all
say
that I do.
dogs don't turn into
Whoa,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Kent lost 2,700, but I earned all my subscribers. Kent paid for them.
I didn't know that. How come
You're
I'm so tired at the end of the
mischaracterizing
day?
science.
Okay, now Dave, let me make it very simple for you. You like to make things simple. This chart shows humans and mosquitoes coming from a protista. Did the dog come from a protista? If it wasn't an
You
amoeba, I'm
already
sorry.
did this 9 times. You can say all animals and all plants.
You're not answering the question.
So to North Texas Fossils, asking the question, you need 1,000 subs to monetize, correct? To run the in-channel, like in-video ads, yeah. Other monetization methods, like Super Chat, Super Thanks, memberships, unlock at a lower level. And I got that. Like, I had the number of subscribers, I think it was like 500 subs, but I didn't have the watch time because my content was lost in the ether because it was mostly gaming and just random silly videos. Once I started the heavy atheist content, that got me the watch hours I needed. And doing long form content makes it even better. Yeah. So yeah, it's 1,000 to monetize and 4,000 watch hours of normal video content if memory serves.
Dave, you're not
You're
answering
just asking the same question 18 times. You can
Did
say
the
dog,
dog
and then
come-
horse, and
Here
then
it is
any
right on the
animal you
chart.
want. Yes, they're all related. The answer is yes.
Okay, good, fine.
What's the
So
problem?
the dog, I'm trying to make a point here now, Dave. The dog came from a protista, and a protista is not a dog. So you said that I will always say dogs produce dogs, and you say that's not what science says. That's not what evolution says. Of course, dogs
Aren't
always
they
produce
both
dogs. Well, then
eukaryotes?
why didn't Dave? Why didn't
Aren't
the
they both
protista?
eukaryotes?
Why didn't the protista keep producing protista? Somehow it produced a
It
human
did,
on
it
this
did.
chart.
Did you not know that there are many protists in the world?
Yes. Do you not know that they have lines on this paper connecting the people to the protista?
So
Do you see
what?
the lines on the paper, son? They connected a line from a human to a protista.
Yeah,
Somewhere
all
along
I'm
the line,
hearing
the
from you is
protista
that you
produced a
don't understand it, so
non-protista.
it's not true. Why is that not true? You're just saying that you don't understand it, so it's not true. What's the
I don't
point?
understand it, so it's not true. I don't believe this for a sec.
Yeah, for once, Lupin woke up and didn't choose drunken violence. He chose being gay for Luigi Mangione. It's not as cool as being gay for Mole Man, because let me tell you, I'm gay for Mole Man. Are you gay for Mole Man, AJ? Audience, are you gay for Mole Man? And if you don't get that joke, you either don't watch The Simpsons or watch it, or in the UK and watch it on Sky, where apparently the gay for Mole Man joke is censored.
I think it's retarded to believe a protista turned to a human.
Oh, and there he goes. He dropped the R bomb. And like I said, I will use the term sometimes. I try to avoid it. Sometimes I feel it's accurate in the sense that the word means inhibited. Um, but that being said, he's just an asshole, a relic of a bygone era, being just rude for the sake of being rude.
Now,
What
if you
I
want to
would,
believe that, that's fine.
no one
Fine.
says that. See, that's you
You do.
mischaracterizing it. You said Protista turned into a
You
human.
think
What
this
does that
chart
mean?
is right.
Over
Dave.
over 2 billion years, Ken. Over 2 billion years.
Okay. So instead of a kiss to turn the protista to a human, it took billions of years. That's your new magic
Yeah.
ingredient.
What's
If you
wrong with
kiss-
that?
If you kiss the protista, it won't do it. But if you wait
See,
billions of years, the
That's
protista will
what you
turn to a
do.
human.
Is you just try to mock it. You say, "Ooh, kiss and tornado." This is what you do.
I
You
am
just
mocking it because it is stupid. It is
Says
stupid
you.
to believe a
Says
protista
you.
evolved to a
Based
human.
on what? Based on your
Yes, North Texas fossils. Is Kent saying we think a dog literally came from a protist like in one step? He is. He will deny that if questioned on it, but the way he phrases things always indicates that. It's the same thing as him saying we came from a rock, as if life literally just popped out of rocks. Which people give me, some guy in a comment on my Matt Powell video where, Matt Powell lying about Aaron Ra, lying about Ken Hovind. And went through a big old diatribe of like, no, he's trying to say you believe such and such, such, such. It's like, no, Kent is literally saying he thinks, like we say things just came from rocks. It's like, nah, dude, that's not what's being said. And any kind of explanation for biologic chemistry getting going that happens to involve quote unquote rocks as a substrate, as a surface for things to happen on, or as a source of various particular minerals and the like, is not the same as saying life just popped out of rocks, as Kent implies.
your incredible expertise that does not exist because you have no education whatsoever? Is that what you're basing it on?
Now here we go with the, okay, I'm a kindergarten dropout, okay? But I don't think anybody's ever seen a protista produce a non-protista. Where's the example?
Evolution does not, what do you, wait, evolution does not say that it must. What are you saying?
This chart came from an evolution textbook, and it shows a protista turning to humans, gorillas.
They're eukaryotes. They're eukaryotes, Kent. They're all eukaryotes.
Did the protista turn to a pine tree and a human? This chart says they did. This is what...
Yes, this is still not too long after the whole pine trees and elephants thing on a non sequitur between, which was a discussion and not a debate between Kent Hovind and Aaron Ra.
Kids have to learn in school. You do believe a protista became a human and a pine tree.
Over 2 billion years. Yeah. Huh?
Okay, just admit it. If you want to believe something that dumb, that's fine.
Okay.
But don't call it science.
All you're saying is that you don't get it, so it's not true. So let's get into this. Let's get into this. Kent, we're not getting anywhere with this. You're going to take all the animals forever. Let's talk about genetics. Let's talk about genetics. What is a paternity test? Kent? What is a paternity test?
What? Somewhere for the protista to become a human, new information.
So you want to answer my questions, and you're just going to go on and on and on and on about protists turning into whatever you want to talk about.
I want the audience to see what a dumb religion you guys have chosen to follow.
Let the record show that Polly's Cracker mini painting is back from fulfilling the slave duties that a cat owner must fulfill. Welcome back. I hope the clawings were minimal.
Not a religion. Not a religion.
It is a religion. You believe.
Nope, there's no moral code.
And there goes Kent's thing of you believe, where everything is a religion according to Kent. Gravity's a religion. Soda bottle sitting on my desk is a religion. My laptop being on is a religion. Ham being in front of me is a religion. My cell phone being over here to the left of me, ironically right behind, rotary phone, is a religion. My water bottle being right here is a religion. Me having 11 guitar picks out of the 13, having lost 2 somewhere in the room, is a religion. My ZZ plants needing to be watered is a religion. My lights being on is a religion. Me doing this live stream is a religion. Everything's a religion to Kent. My middle finger being up pointing his direction is a religion.
There's no social structure. There's no
imagine. Here you go. Put your name on right here. Okay. Put your name on right here. You imagine that over millions, billions of years, the protista could turn to a pine tree and a human. That's what the charts show, and that's my objection. It doesn't happen.
There's overwhelming evidence to support it.
Well, I've asked you to show it to me. The protista.
Did you not hear the part about fossils?
Dave, protista don't have a lot of things that humans have.
Yeah, Matt Powell is proof that Kent isn't the stupidest creationist, and and Kent Hovind isn't the biggest asshole of creationists, because Matt Powell is truly just a disgusting human being. Just horrible on all points.
Protista
Yeah.
don't have fingers and arms. They don't have the brains that they do. Protista have everything humans have.
No, I agreed with you when you said they don't have hands, because anyone can see.
Good. We're getting somewhere. So somewhere along the line, the Protista had to have new information added.
We got discussion on Kent's channel having been taken down a year or two ago. I have the What Happened to Ken Hovind video uploaded, mirrored, unlisted on my channel. I should public that. Not that other people didn't upload it publicly, but I did it, I kept it private just cause. Yeah, I was planning on doing a small video on that sometime down the line. Not that it matters now, but it's worth me providing my take on, since people value that. I don't see why y'all value my opinions, but you do, so I'm here to provide them.
To turn to a human on this chart, didn't it?
Yeah, and I just told you that all mutations are new information. It's new information. It's a new gene.
Okay.
What do you not see about
you're
that?
welcome. You're welcome to imagine that this happened, but where is the scientific evidence?
And yes, the chat's also loving the irony about life coming from rocks, when, a golem spell, life being made from animated clay, effectively is what Kent believes. Yeah, the irony is not lost on me. It's so ridiculous. Excuse me. Rizalier, how's everyone today? Doing all right. Doing all right. Glad you can be here.
For any Protista adding new information. Protista have a very short generation time. I don't know what it is for a Protista, probably a couple of hours. You can get the equivalent of millions of years of human evolution in one Protista lifespan.
Could turn into a human? What does that have to do with evolution at all? I'm telling you that very slow accumulation.
Oh, Lord. Otangelo in my damn Discord. I ain't about it. I ain't about it. Moment stuff gets stupid, I'm going to make some shit, make some people disappear, because you don't really have a business in there. It's like, this just isn't the kind of place for him. My Discord is a weird world of just outright insanity, where Deviant, Outcast, and Soot Kettle would fit perfectly. My kind of people. Not that everyone isn't my kind of people, but those who are as eccentric as me. Far less focused. It works.
Gradual change, mutations, new genes. Did you not see my slide in the beginning? It's biochemistry. Do you know any biochemistry? Do you understand gene expression? Do you know how gene expression works?
Dave,
do you know how
you understand
genes create new proteins?
Dave,
do you know how that works?
Yes, I understand. You do a good job of making things simple. I'm trying to make it simple for you. The charts are showing the kids. Oh yeah, the chart. Here's the chart right here. I don't know where you see it on your screen here. Right this way. Okay, I can't get in front of it. This chart shows the Protista becoming slowly over billions of years through gradual mutations, through random chance mutations. The Protista turned into a pine tree, a human, a horse, a gorilla, a dinosaur, a shark, and a starfish. And you believe this stuff, don't you? You believe that, don't you? Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, Dave, you are welcome to believe that, but this is a religious belief. This is not science.
No, it's not religious.
You have a religion and don't even know
why did you refuse to address any of the things that I said in my opening statement? Why are you not addressing fossils and geological data? I know that you have a lot of
Dave,
let's take them.
One of my requirements when I debate someone is we talk about one topic at a time. If you'd like to talk about fossils, I would be glad to. Let's stick on that one. Let me point it out. Let me explain it to you. Dave, hang on. Science. Pay attention. Fossils.
Ooh, he's got to beat the SpongeBob.
You cannot prove any fossils had any children at all. I've got fossils all over our museum here. Here's a petrified clam.
Ken,
could we prove this clam?
May I respond to the dumb thing that you just said? May I respond to the dumb thing that you just said? Or do you just want to keep steamrolling and say dumb thing after another?
No, you're not listening anyway. But did this clam?
No, I heard what you said. And I know this talking point of yours. You say that a fossil, there's no proof that it reproduced or anything like this.
That's
your
true,
point, right?
Isn't it?
Why does that matter? Kent, if a human being dies, Kent, let me say what I'm going to say, because I'm demonstrating to you that you have no idea what you're talking about. If a human being dies without having reproduced, does the entire human species go extinct?
No.
So
I'm
what are you
asking
talking about?
you-
That
you're-
organism doesn't have to have reproduced. It is a member of some species, a population. That one died and we found it. So what?
Okay.
Well, I feel bad if that was anyone other than the Otangelo in question, but I just sent their ass to the Shadow Realm. Nothing personal, but after the Lupin bullshit, I'm not trusting people. Sorry.
Wonderful. That's great. We have fossils all over our museum. Dave, a simple question. Could you
Drawing a
prove,
talking point of yours?
yeah, because you don't get it. Could you prove
No, you
this
don't get it.
fossil?
Do you understand what I just said?
fossils.
Yeah, after that situation with Matt Dillahunty and the other person just laying in insults instantly and just, no vetting of the actual debate parties, I think I'm still subscribed to Modern Day Debate. I might finally not be, but I haven't really watched any content in ever. It's just, one, there hadn't been that much that's really interested me, and two, James just went off the deep end with stuff.
Dave, you said fossils are evidence for evolution. I'm pointing out you can't prove that fossil had any children. You couldn't prove it had children that were different. Why
Did
don't
you
we
hear
still-
what I just said? That fossilized organism does
It's
not
part of
have
a
to have
population.
reproduced.
I've heard it till I want to
Okay.
puke on it. Okay? My
Well, you
point
want to
is,
puke on it because it demonstrates that you have no idea what you're talking about.
I have every idea what I'm talking. You're the one that
No,
knows
you
what I'm
don't, or you wouldn't say that dumb thing that you just said.
No, what I said was true. You don't get it. Fossils would in an honest court of law, no fossils would count. They would all be thrown out because
Where
we
the
don't see animals-
judge is a developmental
Dave.
biologist? What do you mean a court of law? Who cares?
Dave, we don't see any animal today. This chart shows a protista producing a human. We don't see protista produce anything other than protista today. But you think a fossil
Yeah, you do.
protista could do it?
What do you mean other than protista? No, evolution does not say that. See, this is why you need to define kind. Because if you are saying that kind is species, then you're wrong. Speciation occurs. Do you agree that speciation occurs?
That's a slippery term, but yes, I'll give a qualified
It's
yes.
really
I agree.
not, though. It's really not a slippery term, though, because species is not a slippery term like kind. Species is a population of organisms that can produce viable fertile offspring. It's actually a very rigid definition.
Okay, good. Now, there is a whole population of protista on this planet, like trillions of them. They are having babies all the time. Do they ever?
That is one of those facets that I absolutely love, is that it's very obvious from examples like this where the zygotes start out as female that as far as humans go, we're all female and males are just modified females. They got it completely backwards. And on the Otangelo thing, he's the only other person I've ever known that way as well. And like I said, if anyone's going to give me advice on who to kick out of stuff, I'm definitely going to take it, because not that I'm not aware of him, but I don't follow a lot of these people as closely as the rest of y'all do, and I ain't about to let my Discord server become a load of shit. Just, it ain't happening.
Ever produce anything other than a protista today?
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a shitty Discord server, but it's a place to have fun.
Today, can we watch them
Evolution
today?
doesn't say that they will. Everything
Evolution says
will
that they
belong.
did. Let's get
No, a
protista.
protist is not a species. A protist is not a species. A particular species of paramecium may evolve into, or a subset of a population of paramecium may evolve into a new species of paramecium, but a protist is not a species, right? A protist is a group, and you're deliberately using protist because it's so poorly defined. It's not a kingdom.
It was on the chart. I just showed you one on the chart. I'm trying to help you understand, son. Okay, let's try
No,
this
you're
one.
not trying to help anybody understand anything
I am.
ever. You're trying to make money. That's what this is. Don't try to.
Whoa.
Oh, God, yeah. Love it. Dave just straight calls him out. And, of course, Ken has to do his son thing. Asshole. Look how proud of himself he is.
These folks live here and work here. Am I in this for the money?
Let me ask the cult members if they're in a cult. Let me ask the people who I'll beat to death if they say anything against me, if I'm a bad guy in it for money or not.
Oh no, you bet. Come
Allegedly.
visit.
Oh my
Dynasty
gosh, your
Land. I'll
minions
give you a
agree
tour.
with you.
You have
What
no
a
clue what
shock.
you're talking about. Now, okay,
Yeah,
let me make
okay.
it simple.
Okay,
I
Dino
have
Park man.
I forgot about that. Okay, Dino Park, man. Ah, love it.
Okay,
You know, I'm planning on another video, another live stream, or a series of live streams going through Dave's debate with James Tour. So if that's something you want, um, send those super chats so I can make a day of it. Just saying. The more you support, the more Lord Yamato will bless you with content. Because money talks. Vote with your wallets, if you can. All seriousness, I do appreciate all of y'all for being here. Don't think for a second I don't. Much love, as always. Let's keep laughing.
I have slides just like this somewhere in my 10 million slides showing all life forms going back to a common ancestor, which was a single-celled creature, whether it be a protist.
Let's think about it. Liquid funds are probably tight, but Kent's wallet probably fat as hell. No, not his wallet. His I would say his bank account, but the pile of money under his mattress. It's fat as hell.
Or an amoeba or whatever class you want to put on it. You think this single-celled creature became a horse, a pine tree, and a human over millions of years slowly. I'm asking, where's the evidence?
Same thing over and over and over again. Incredulously,
because it's
not an argument.
Dave,
no,
I say the same
not.
thing because,
no,
Dave,
it's not.
You and I both taught mathematics. 2 + 2 is 4. It was 4 100 years ago. It's going to be 400 years from now. You don't
what
have
does
to
that have to do with anything, Kent? What does that have to do with anything?
It has to do with the fact that I don't need
no,
to change what I say.
Kent, this is becoming very circular because all you're doing is the same thing over and over again, saying, Protestant plants, what's going on? This is so crazy. So let's talk about the evidence. Let's talk about fossils.
Let's talk about the evidence. Have you ever seen a...
Ah, yes. The man-child bangs on stuff after Dave does the focus claps. What a petty, weak man you are, Kent.
Protista or an amoeba or any bacteria produce something that
was... He just said fossils, and you're going off in the exact same talking point that you just
fossils. Did. Okay. Have they found any fossil protista or bacteria or amoeba, any single-celled fossils? A lot of them have been found. I mean, lots of whole rock formations are made of trillions of fossil single-celled creatures. Have they ever found any of them with evidence of new information like...
Oh, yes. I will do the Hannah and Jake debate. That's another great one. Just love that one so very much. Yeah, we are definitely going to take a look at that one as well as Dave versus Tor.
A leg or a wing or an arm or an eyeball.
Bacteria don't have those things. They're not multicellular organisms. So what you're saying has nothing to do with anything whatsoever.
But the chart...
$2 super chat from David Street. Really funny channel. Hope you get to 1K. Thank you so very much. It's gonna happen sooner or later. With awesome people like y'all, it's destined to happen. It's just when it happens is the question. Couldn't do it without you guys though, and I do it for y'all. So really appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Shows they became multicellular organisms, and you think this happened? They drew a line on paper.
Right. Over many millions of years, new species came about. But that does not mean a bacterium must have a wing. That's a very dumb thing to say. And it's something
Dave, you're not getting it. You're still not getting it. Hey, hang on. I'll get it right here. Let's see, right here. Science is knowledge. What we see and observe and test is...
there we go. Kent picks an arbitrary definition of science, which definitions are descriptive and not prescriptive. And that's laws as well, scientific laws. Definitions are about word usage. So yeah, he tries to make that be the be all end all of what is and isn't science according to his own declarations, because Kent is the arbiter of all reality.
Single-cell.
That's a very cute prop, Kent. It's adorable.
It's very appropriate too. Very appropriate.
No, it's not.
Because you imagine that all these things came from a common ancestor. You have a wild imagination, Dave.
So all we're establishing that is that you don't...
On the Ludlow video that had a few details about Ken Hovind's compound, even the locals say Ken and his cult of hillbillies are creepy. I miss that man. Ludlow was something special to the world, and I'm so sad we lost him. One of the greats. I think he did the debate with Kent way back when. I should definitely add that one to the list as well. Like, I should just do live streams just going through Ken Hovind debates, because man, these are just wild.
believe biology, and so we're not getting anywhere with that. So let us talk about geology.
Biology, bio means
fossils.
life, and ology is study. I taught biology 15 years. I believe biology.
No, you didn't. No,
Kent, you didn't teach a goddamn thing ever.
you didn't, Kent. No, you didn't.
Okay. Okay.
You lied to children in a church. That's not teaching biology.
I lied to. You're the one lying to children, saying we all came from an amoeba or a single-celled creature. Slowly,
I didn't say
over
yeah,
billions of years.
Yeah.
You're lying to the children, Dave. You're teaching a dumb religion of evolution.
Okay, you're just repeating the same thing over and over again. So why are you talking about it?
It's true, and you're not getting it.
You're going like this. La, 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 la. That's what you're doing. Kent, why? Explain to me why.
Okay.
All of the fossils.
Oh, hell. I'm inspiring people to do stuff. Austin's going to do the heat problem video. That is going to be one hell of a video. No pun intended. Oh, because your snark, your razor sharp attack on things. That's going to be something nice. Very, very nice.
You agree that there are geological strata, yes?
I agree that there are many layers of rock on the Earth. I do not agree they are different ages. I have right here. I have in our museum pictures of petrified trees standing up, connecting all these layers.
Now, call them whatever you want. I'm asking you a question. Call them whatever you want. In these layers, there are fossils, yes?
I agree.
And they are organized in a pretty particular way, yes?
The fossils are not always in that particular way. If there's any,
they are essentially always in that particular order.
Then you have been lied to, and you swallowed a lie.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Can you find for me a hominoid fossil in a very low layer next to a trilobite fossil?
With our resident geologist in the chat, tell me, will you, per what Dave says here, let's repeat this.
Can you find for me a hominoid fossil in a very low layer next to a trilobite fossil?
Is that something that can be done? Is that something that has been done? Please, North Texas Fossils, let us know. Because I'm not sure who to trust here. The convicted felon who's a known liar and a known just garbage human being, or the funny if snarky dude who has a documented educational background, had a promising music career, and who does good YouTube content. Sorry, I had to mute myself for a second there. Kent demonstrably wrong. There we go.
Can you find that?
That's very interesting. We have a section in our museum working on right now about trilobites living with humans all along. There might even be some.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating, though it's not based in reality.
Dave,
now you keep derailing me, so I never got to ask you my question. My question for you is that you believe that these layers were deposited during some kind of flood, as waters were draining or something like that, right?
I agree. Yeah, the layers were deposited in a flood.
Okay, so then what I want to know is number one.
Most of them, nearly all of them. There's still layers today being deposited, but I'd say 95% of what we see was deposited.
But Kent, you said layers are being deposited. How old are the layers? Where did the layers come from, Kent? Explain. With real science, please, Kent.
During Noah's flood, yeah.
Number one, why do the layers have zero correlation with density? Why does the density not increase as you go down? And number two, why are these fossils in those specific layers, in that specific order, everywhere around the world?
Okay, they are not in that order, but let's take one question at a time. I have in front of me a sand art toy that has 4 different densities of sand: black, dark blue, light blue, and white. 4 different densities, but every time you flip it over, it makes 30 or 40 different layers. Why
are any of those limestone or
deviant popping up with? I'm only speaking from an archaeological view, but I'm going out on a limb to say Kent's claim is as wrong when it comes to geology as they are in relation to archaeology. I'm going to go even further as a layperson with scientific interest and say Kent lies about damn near everything ever. And he's a piece of shit human. And he's wrong. And he lies. Did I mention he lies? Because he fucking lies. Bet $5 on it.
Sandstone or granite, are those in there?
Dave, I'm not sure what you know about physics or hydrologic sorting, but water automatically sorts things, especially during the tidal change, during the flood in the days of Noah. The earth is turning around, you know, in spite of the flat earthers, and the tide goes up and down. And so if the earth were turning for a year while the tide's going up and down with no interruptions, it would make thousands of layers and the density would be completely confused. Generally, clams are found at the bottom.
What do you mean completely confused? What does that mean?
Well, during one tide, you would get more dense and light dense. And then 6 hours later, you get another tide.
During one tide, you would get more dense and light dense. Light dense, sorry. I refer back to my previous statement about the particularities of the words being used. Kent is frustrated here, and you can tell because he's completely fucking up half of what he says, more than he normally does.
Coming in, bringing another layer on top of all that, so you may get more dense and less dense. Just Google stratigraphy, experiments in stratigraphy, stratigraphic experiments at Colorado, at the Navy.
So you're saying that tides exist everywhere on Earth, in every location on Earth, at the same time. Is that basically what you're saying?
Well, during the flood in the days of Noah, the earth was covered and the tides would cover the world. Now, some parts of the world.
Very good question. How would the pyramids have been built with a limestone that existed before the flood and thus couldn't have existed? I'm sure Deviant understands this very well and has a perfect answer to it, which completely corroborates what Kent would say. Oh, wait, no, I forgot. She actually knows what the hell she's talking about. And if we go back up to our friend Crypto, who likes cryptozoology, bald eagle can easily die from lead poisoning. Imagine how many non-avian dinosaur corpses would show up after drinking lead-contaminated water. An interesting point, as well as that of the various megafauna that we had back in that era, at all surviving into the recent day from a cryptozoological standpoint. They just couldn't survive.
Have a high tide while other parts have a low tide. You see?
So how can you get the same
Kent gets more dense with every word. Got him.
strata everywhere on Earth? Tides occur on a coast.
If the earth were covered with water during Noah's flood, tides would occur everywhere, Dave.
What do you mean they would occur everywhere? Tides occur on a coast. Tides come in and out. If the world is covered by water, where is a tide? How does a tide?
Hold it. Let me explain, Dave. Here is the Pacific Ocean. They have a high tide and a low tide in the middle of the
Here is the Pacific Ocean.
Pacific. You don't see it because you're in a ship floating up and down, but the Pacific Ocean actually comes up and down during the tide. What do you mean tide occurs at the coast? Have you ever studied anything about earth science?
I know about lunar tides. You're talking about the depositing of sediments in a particular way.
Yeah, right. See, the world is turning. At this latitude, 31.3366 degrees north latitude in Lenox, Alabama, we're turning 886 miles an hour toward the east. If the tide were going up and down during Noah's flood...
There's a subtle technique that, again, I know we all notice, but should be brought up when you're talking with people who follow Kent's bullshit, is that he'll sometimes bring up oddly specific values that he's memorized specifically to make it seem like he's hyper obsessed with these things. But he doesn't use these hyper specific values all the time because he's trying to make it simple for people, when in reality he's just picked up some interesting little tidbits to bring up to make it seem like he knows what he's talking about. You know, he's got that veneer of, I'm smart, but I'm dumbing it down for you. When in reality, I'm a dumbass. I learned a few things that sound cool, and they help you buy into my complete bullshit.
The water would have to rush sideways at really high speeds to fill that bump, and then rush down the other way at high speeds to lessen the bump.
Really high speeds. What does that have anything? How is it any different than tides today?
Okay, it's not. It's not. But the tides today get interrupted by banging into the continents. Earth turns toward the east, so the tides generally hit the eastern coast a little more because the tide is being drawn out by the moon, lunar gravity.
You're trying to ascribe some kind of magical quality to tides that doesn't exist. We see what tides do today, and we see what they do.
It's very simple. Here, look at this. I just flipped this thing over. These 4 different densities of sand made, probably...
Kent is really obsessed with bulges when you get him on the subject. Just saying.
20 different layers.
And again, are any of those things sandstone or limestone or granite or anything that would be applicable to this discussion whatsoever?
I think it's pretty obvious, even from the name. You might even get this. Sandstone is made from sand, okay? Sand is moved very easily when tides move back and forth. water
And
going
how-
back and forth.
But it's not the same material. How does it possibly compact into
it would have
and
to
that's only
harden.
one of the strata.
It would have to harden over the next few hundred years after the flood. After Noah's flood, the layers would harden, and some of it's a chemical reaction. There are different types of sedimentary rock.
And
Some
how
of it
does this
is-
process occur magically at every location on Earth at the same time, such that the strata are the same everywhere on Earth?
Well, first, if you think the strata are the same every place on Earth, you have really been lied to in your education.
Nope.
You're the one that doesn't have
Definitely
an education.
not.
The strata are all
Definitely
different
not.
areas. And all over the world, petrified trees are found standing up connecting these strata. So how
That's
can
not
you
a problem.
There we go. The polystrate fossils, the upright fossils, which don't go through geologic layers and only go through annular layers or some other similar enough term. I don't know the exact one, but you know, layers like the layers of dust gathering on my desk over there, my other desk.
They're different ages?
Some are in
What's that?
volcanic ash. Some could be due to a local flood. That is not evidence
Oh,
against anything.
I agree. I got it. You need to watch my video number 6.
I don't
about
need to
the
watch
flood.
any of your videos, Kent.
You didn't? I'm sorry,
No.
I didn't hear you. Did you?
I didn't, and I don't need to.
Oh, I know you didn't. It's obvious, but you need to. It would help you a lot. Okay,
No, I
you really do
don't.
need to. Okay. Tell you what, I'll watch some of yours, and I'll put you on my list to whack an atheist. Are you an atheist or just an agnostic, or what are you?
I don't really feel like telling you because it's not really part of this discussion. It has
Okay.
nothing to do with God whatsoever, unless we
Fair
want to
enough,
actually
fair
talk about the Bible like I wanted to do earlier. Can we?
No, that wasn't.
And that's a nice one where Dave separates the facts from, as in the fact of evolution, from the religious aspects, and is only this entire time been going at Kent for the pseudoscience / science denial aspect. And Kent, of course, has to make everything about religion because that's the only way he can view the world. And Dave is very good to bring up that it is completely irrelevant, because it is.
The title of the debate. The debate was the evidence for evolution. You're claiming there is evidence
No,
for
the title of
evolution.
the debate is evolution versus creation, and the Bible is your evidence for creation.
Well, no, even without the Bible, I could say it's obvious there's a creator. I think somebody created this coffee cup.
Well, there we go.
Nothing to do with the Bible. This has a
Yeah,
creator.
another
I don't know who.
man-made object that has nothing to do with anything. Your argument is that a designed thing exists, therefore everything is designed. Well, I can tell you that something like a snowflake forms spontaneously, so everything forms spontaneously. Neither of those conclusions follow from the premise. They're both bad arguments. You should stop saying it, even though it's one of your favorite ridiculous things to say.
Well, it's not ridiculous. It's true. And you're
It's
not getting it, obviously. So I need to say it over and over again. I'll tell you what, most of the audience is getting it, even though you are not. It is true.
God, what a petty asshole.
Do you believe the first living cell, the first living creature on the planet, came from something that was non-living? Because I used a coffee cup, which is non-living. Do you believe the first living cell came from something non-living?
Kind of a gray area, but at some point you'd have to demarcate that. Yes.
Okay. So how did this non-living, whatever it was, soup, collection of chemicals, you can have whatever you want. How did it
Oh, you're
become
not
alive?
saying rock anymore?
Well, that's what the textbook shows, that the rocks
Oh
got
no,
rained
no,
on.
it doesn't. But that's what you always do say. But it's interesting that you're not saying it right now because
I knew we'd get to rocks eventually. I remembered it was somewhere in this debate.
Okay,
you know
I'm
that
going to try to get you to admit it, Dave. Now listen, do you believe
Mhm.
the Earth began as a hot ball of rock 4.625 billion years ago, or whatever number they're using now?
Yeah.
Okay. Did the rocks cool down, and then it rained on the rocks and produced chemical oceans containing chemical soup?
You can call it soup. I wouldn't, but
Okay.
fine.
That most of the textbooks call it a soup. Okay. Do you believe this soup somehow came alive?
Well, the
Eventually,
soup
over
did
millions
not
of years.
come alive. Organic molecules organize themselves into ordered systems, which eventually we can
so
describe as
The
life.
living,
Yes.
the living things came out of this organic living molecules, organic molecules came from this soup, from the rocks that got rained on. Dave, you believe you came from a rock. You just admitted it. Don't even know it. You
No,
even
I
see it.
don't. I believe that organic molecules produce life, but you know who does believe that humans came from rocks? You do. You believe that
Oh.
God.
So good.
God created Adam from dust. So you're
You are
describing
correct.
your ridiculous
Bingo.
belief,
Now,
not mine.
Let me try to explain. I'll try to explain it simply. This coffee cup is made of 100% natural materials, okay? Ceramics from the ground and stuff like that. For a man to take the materials from the ground and produce a coffee cup is understandable. For an intelligent God to take the dust and make a human, that's logical. For the dust to make itself into a human, that's not logical, Dave.
Are you running away?
And no one says that, you dumbass. Just, I know we all know that, but I gotta bring it up again. No one's saying dust magically made people by itself, Kent. Period.
Away from abiogenesis? Do you not want to talk about that? Because you're going back to your
I'd be glad to talk about it. Please tell me how life got started, Dave. So please tell me, how did life get started? From the sun, from the rock?
Absolutely. I can summarize what we know. We know that very basic organic molecules are demonstrably able to form. We know that nucleotides are able to polymerize spontaneously. We know that ribozymes are able to self-replicate ribonucleotides. There are a number of viable hypotheses about how amino acids initially polymerize. We're talking about tidal pools. We're talking about hydrothermal vents. Admittedly, we do not know exactly which of these occurred, but they are extremely plausible. Then this, right? I mean, how long do you want to talk? Hypercycles, protobionts, getting to the first protocell. Right. This is all.
No. This is good. This is good. I'm glad you said what you just said. I think we need to analyze.
And you got someone back there in the peanut gallery on Kent's side bringing shit up. It's hilarious.
This is line by line. You said there are many hypotheses of how life got started. None have been proven, of course, but there are many hypotheses. Why don't you take each one of these hypotheses and simply...
Yes, it does make you a god. 3D print all those minifigures, paint them up however you wish, and lord over them. For you have earned that right.
Do it in the laboratory and test it. There's a whole lot of laboratories out there. Why don't they take some soup and make it come alive today? Has anybody in any laboratory ever seen or produced, even with all the chemical brains and chemical chemists in the world, have they ever been...
Even with all the chemical brains. Oh, shit. That actually would make a cool sci-fi idea. You've got, like, this artificial intelligence, like, you know, the classic artificial intelligence, not the modern buzzword, that would literally be a chemical brain as opposed to, like, a solid synthetic brain or a computer thingy. It would just be a vat of fluid. That would be cool. I'm going to roll with that.
Been able to make life today? Or did it only happen long ago and far away in the imagination? Where do we see it today?
Craig Venter did create synthetic life. He did.
Craig Venter, I'm going to write this down now, created synthetic life. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And where is this? Where can I look at this? Is this Venter, V-E-N-T-O-R?
Yes, Google's name.
Okay. I will certainly do that. So listen carefully. Is Craig Venter a pretty intelligent scientist?
Slit Kettle, you would be pleased to know that while I play guitar, I consider myself a bassist, and one of my main inspirations is, of course, Lemmy Kilmister. Absolute hero.
Seems like it to me.
Okay. So if an intelligent scientist created life, wouldn't that prove it takes intelligence to make life?
Oh, very clever. I see your argument. So you're sort of saying,
you finally see one.
Gotcha,
Yay, there's hope, folks. There's hope. You finally see one.
So you're saying, you're basically setting up a situation where nobody could ever demonstrate the validity of abiogenesis because you're going to say that it will always require intelligent design. Well, sorry, that has nothing to do with anything. That doesn't demonstrate that abiogenesis did not occur.
It demonstrates the whole point. Nobody sees it happen without intelligent input. An intelligent God can take the dust and form it into a man and breathe into the nostrils and it comes alive.
And you don't think that's stupid?
No, I think that's the only answer we can come up with.
You're looking at...
You're a fucking idiot, Kent.
You're looking at cladistics and evolutionary biology and very well understood things that slowly create organization over time. And you think that's stupid. And you think a God going on dust is not stupid?
Hold it. You said this is well understood, but you admitted they don't know how life got started. There's a bunch of hypotheses.
We don't know which hypothesis occurred. We don't know which of these hypothetical...
Thank you, North Texas Fossils. Yeah, it really is that simple. Once you get organic molecules with a lipid covering and ability to absorb other smaller molecules, you have a protocell and evolution takes over and complexity increases. Really is that simple.
Processes occur.
Well, go test them.
They're all very plausible.
They're all plausible. Well, then make life 20 different ways then. Why don't you do it in the soup and do it in the ocean and do it in the warm little pond?
Yeah, do
Kent wants to do it in the warm little pond. And we have a super chat from the ever generous Rashina, Pterodactyl Jesus Killer, for $4.99. We have at least 3 ways abiogenesis could be started. The problem is figuring out which likely happened on this planet. You know, as far as abiogenesis goes, I'm up for multiple of them happening simultaneously in all practicality, and the emergent things being effectively compatible to where once they ran into each other, they were able to consume each other if there was some sort of compatibility, genetic wise, construction wise, to bond, reproduce, what have you. You know, I'm talking, protocells here, open-ended organisms and the like, anything, super simple. I'm fine for it happening multiple different ways effectively at once.
it in the ocean where all of the living organisms are that consume organic materials? How's that going to work, Kent?
You mean because there's already living things there, life can't get started again because they would eat.
Our friend Crypto, still like my French-kissed headcanon, and the biblical Adam just became Florida man in Eden and humped every shrub and gourd he saw. He did require a decent helper. So apparently Adam, the only thing Adam knew or had the ability of or at all could do originally was hump things. Way to go, Bible.
Eat it. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell you what, let's get rid of all the living organisms. Let's get you a pot of hot soup, just chemicals, no living organism, and make some life. You said
Yeah, but then you're going to do the whole ha-ha-ha.
Who is this Miguel Fernandez guy? Get out of here. Also, this is an old debate. If you think this is anything, recent, it's not. The only person embarrassing themselves here is Kent.
See, intelligent creator. That's what you're going to do. That's why you're setting this up this way.
You're finally getting it, Dave.
Yeah,
Nobody
I'm
has a
getting
clue
how duplicitous you are. That's what I'm getting.
No, nobody has a clue how life got started. They can't make it happen in the laboratory. I don't believe you at all about this Venter guy making synthetic life. What is he defining life as anyway?
I love how he just straight up says Dave's lying there, while Kent is known to lie nonstop. That's just fucking perfect irony.
The same way everybody else defines it. He made a synthetic genome, and it's an organism.
Did this synthetic life that he created, was it able to move, breathe, respirate, reproduce, give off waste, the things normal life things do?
Yeah, it's a unicellular organism. It's a bacterium.
So he created.
Another super chat, $1.99 from Rosina. Adam humped all the animals before Eve was made. gotta try before you buy. Oh man.
He did a unicellular organism.
He created the
From
genome.
what?
He synthesized the genome for it. Yeah.
Let's see, it's up on the screen here. The first synthetic cells made in 2010. Inventor's team at the C. Craig Venter Institute in California, out by you.
Hey Kent, you would have learned about that in real time had you not been in the federal pen for 9.5 years. You dumb fuck.
Copied an existing bacterial genome and transplanted it into another cell. Now hold it. He copied an existing one and put it in another cell? You think he made life? Dave,
well, it counts. It's a new organism. He invented a new organism.
The question is abiogenesis. Did he create life or copy a living organism's brain?
He did not create it from constituent parts, but that's not the question you asked me in that moment. He created a new species.
Oh, okay. So who's being evasive and duplicitous here?
I just
Dave?
answered the question that you asked me, Kent.
Okay. Have any scientists been able to create life from totally non-living material? Taking the existing gene code of a bacteria and transplanting it is not creating life. Try again. Who else besides Venter did do it?
I mean, technically it is. He created a new living organism.
He did not create life.
He created.
You're missing the point.
He created a new bacterial species that is alive.
I didn't say make a new species. I said, how do you get life from non-living material?
He did. He started with.
Another perfectly structured point from North Texas Fossil. Kent wants one example under a microscope, which is a sample size of 1. Meanwhile, in the real world, the sample size was more like every molecule in every drop of water in every ocean. it's kind of the planet's ultimate science experiment was the eventual reaction chain that brought about life on this world. It's incredible.
He started with some living material, Dave. Bacteria. The
Okay.
one he started with was already alive. He took
Okay,
the
so
brains
so
out
it's
of
a
one and
different
put-
topic of discussion, but it doesn't matter. It's not disproving abiogenesis in the
Oh,
slightest.
it matters greatly, because that's why I said you
No.
guys believe, you imagine that life can get started from non-living material, and it can't happen. It's never been observed. It's not science. I
I
object to that
just
being
told
taught in
you,
science
you don't
class.
have to observe something. Can you see atoms, Kent? Can you see atoms?
Oh, now you're going off on a rabbit trail unnecessarily here. to
No,
avoid
it's not a
Yeah, it's not, Kent. The moment someone goes off, you always say rabbit trail. For some reason, you creationists always say rabbit trail, and rabbit hole is perfectly fine and is the more documented usage of the term. Like, you always have to have your own special language. It's so fucking weird.
rabbit trail.
Oh,
You just
you
said
can't
that
see-
we don't know that we know it can't happen because we can't see it. I'm asking you if you can see atoms. Can
No,
see
you can't
atoms?
see gravity either. Can you see gravity? Can you see? You know
And
what
they
light
both
is?
exist. Isn't that incredible? So we're establishing that
So-
you don't need to watch something happen or be able to see it to have evidence that it occurs or has occurred. And
Okay.
you are wrong that there is no viable hypothesis. We have viable hypotheses that are very credible. Now, saying that there's two reasons why this thread that you're pulling along here is ridiculous, because number one, anything that I say, you're just going to say, see, it's an intelligent designer. So it really is not going to be relevant.
Because it's
to this
true.
discussion.
Because it's true.
No, it's not
So
true.
Ginter's not
because
intelligent?
an experiment, you're asking for an experiment
Go
that
to
is
one
going
minute
to
left.
replicate the conditions from which.
Kent, Venter being intelligent is irrelevant. We know you're not intelligent, so
Got about 1 minute left, and then we have
Of
to go into
all the
Q&A.
discussion?
It's 40 minutes.
Whoa.
Okay,
That
well,
was fun. That was fun. I had fun.
That
we didn't get a chance to talk about the Bible, which is most of what you talked about originally. I still would like to.
Well, I'm sure we can do that. No, I believe the Bible. I'm not asking it to be taught in schools, though. You're demanding that your hypotheses of life starting from a soup be taught in schools. You want me to pay
and whether or not something is taught in schools is irrelevant to the actual veracity and validity of the concept. So get fucked, Kent.
for that for the kids. You're brainwashing the kids. You're lying to the children.
You're going to pay for that?
Life started.
You're going to pay for that? With what?
Here we go.
All of the property tax pays for the schools.
What property tax, Kent? You're a tax-exempt church. All three of the lots that make up Dinosaur Adventureland all fall under ownership of CSE, and thus property taxes aren't paid. Or so is my understanding of how this works. I could be completely wrong, but documents I've at least skimmed through say otherwise.
Yes, we pay
Taxes?
lots of that.
You want to talk
Property
about
tax-
taxes?
I pay every tax I owe. You want to get on that rabbit?
Yes, and he doesn't say this as often anymore, but Kent doing his classic, I pay every tax I owe. The thing that's not stated is that, of course, Kent feels like he doesn't owe many, if any, taxes, given his sovereign citizen bullshit. And once you think about it, once you pick up on that, it's easy to tell what he's saying in there, because it's odd for him to bring up, I pay every tax I owe, instead of just saying, I pay my taxes. You know, it's very telling, but it took a while for me to catch on to that. Maybe for some others too, but you know, once you put two and two together with everything with Kent, it's obvious what he's actually saying.
You talk about a straw man. Yes, I'll take that on if you'd like.
I just
Okay?
find it ironic that you bring up taxes.
Well,
And I
I'm
think everyone
pointing
wants
out
to
that
know why.
Because I'm trying to explain to you, because you seem to be a little thick-headed here. Schools are paid for by property tax. Roads are paid for by gas tax. I pay every tax I owe. And there's a website, 15 hours of just about Kent Hovind is innocent. If you want to go to that ad hominem attack.
Yeah,
on
I'm
the
sure
tax
you're
people
innocent.
going
That's
to
why
pay.
you're a convicted felon. I'm sure you're innocent,
A
even though you
convicted
went to
felon.
jail for 10
If we
years.
get the case overturned and they give me $300 million, are you going to apologize, Dave?
Yes.
You won't. You will?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, okay. Come on,
Yeah.
come visit. Hey, it's going to happen. You watch. Now, if not
Okay.
now, judgment.
You guys see that clown in the chat? Oh, pathetic.
Day, it'll certainly happen.
we
So you've not
so
you've not given any
good
science of how
opportunity.
life got started.
I hate to break off, but it's really hard with only 40 minutes, but just to jump in while we can to go to Q&A. So thanks so much for...
Okay. So we're at actually just right at 2.5 hours, and we've gone through the core of the debate. There is the 45-minute Q&A. If you want, I could do that as another stream for the fun of it when I'm not feeling like covering anything too serious, I should say. But 2.5 hours is a pretty good point for this thing. Monday debate is so bad. Yep. Sure. So sad, I should say. Sure is. All right, so I'm going to give y'all a minute to file in any additional questions or anything else you might want before I pop the stream off. I can't English, and the rain picked up out there. It's distracting me. Before I end the stream, definitely want to give you guys a chance to just have a little bit more fun. So fire away with questions, comments, concerns, whatever. You can laugh at that guy earlier who popped in. Like this dude's just like, hi. You have a very silly, childish show. Meh. Soon comes the hour or temptation. Sunday, the hour or temptation. Followed by the strong delusion you shall be put under is that you shall believe that 32,523 and a branded barcode Omnibar shall save you. And I'm just like, what the living fuck even is this? Just like, what is this shit? Like, seriously. Oh man, people are crazy. Got Soot Kettle with I'm not demanding for it to be taught is Ken's way to say I can't prove the Bible to be true. Exactly. Is turkey the best pet dinosaur? I'd say duck. Duck would be the best pet dinosaur, except for the whole corkscrew penis rapist thing. What's the average flight speed of an unladen swallow? I do not remember. I wish I did, but I don't. I mean, I guess that also depends on, well, it's unladen. It would depend on if it's carrying something or not, but yeah. Let us see what crypto has to say. They really do have magic power to command non-believers to believe in Jeepus. Yep. It's like that reminds me of the video where Kent was bragging about his Jeeps. I titled it like Ken Hovind's Christ Jeep and Tax Dodge. Or like Chrysler Jeep and Dodge. Just funny little parody I decided to do because why not? Ah, yes, there's the answer. African or European? Is it African swallow? It's a European swallow. These are These are answers to questions that we must have to answer the main question. I can't English anymore. I am fried. This was awesome as always, even though I wasn't as active in chat as I often am, but that's because I had to make a teeny tiny wrapped GIF and then had to draw some. Oh. Oh, it was under my control. Hands did the walking, or talking, or drawing. Oh, we are just a crazy group of people, and I love it. I had like a 400-letter comment that's basically a Jesus-approved anti-fertility curse. Oh, and it was a comment on making fun of Kent. Well, I had fun. Mostly like learning new YAC debunk arguments and throwing out my own. Yeah, thank you, North Texas, for showing up. You're awesome. You're definitely part of the crew. Especially nice to have someone who specializes in particular fields that are explicitly relevant to the tearing apart of young Earth creationism. But not just for that, but for the chance to learn more, to have an educated person to bounce ideas off of. Really, really enjoy that, expanding the network and linking us all together of, this person knows this, that person knows that, I want to know more about geology, hit up North Texas Fossils. I want to know about fossils. I want to know some more Egyptology details, like I sent in the email back to Deviant. I'd ask a question, mainly an opinionated one, but I was curious on their opinion on some stuff, and I'll find out when I get a reply and check my email and it's in there. Because we all specialize in different things, or a variety of different things to a lesser extent, and we all have something to add to the greater discussion. Um, and we're all trying to learn, trying to understand the world better, and that's the beauty of everything, as opposed to people like Kent who think they understand the entire universe because some book says a thing, when in reality we all know it's just a ploy for more money. That's all it's about in the end, is money. Went on about me commenting child abuse on Kenovan being the child, someone who's in his bloody 50s. Oh man. All right, so I think that's going to be the end of that. I had an awesome time. Of course, links down below to, you know, check out other stuff I do online. If you want to become a channel member, there's some cool, perks with that, like a couple of custom emoji, more to come. And of course, you're supporting the channel. And, all that typical YouTube jazz. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't, share it around. I got members only content. That's the way I'm doing my content now, is that it goes members only a couple of days and then it goes to public. So members get early access to videos. And yeah, just you're all awesome. Much love. Thank you for spending the time with me. Glad I could entertain you.